The road to Holomania is paved with bad intentions. In tonight's main event, a fatal four-way to determine who will take the final coveted spot in the Holomania Championship match will occur. This will be the final opportunity for one of four Hololive superstars to achieve their dream.
I know I better stop trying. You know that there's no denying. I won't show mercy on you now.
But first, in an exciting undercard bout, one of Hololive EN's most dynamic duos will come to blows in the fallout of the Hololive Rumble. Tonight, there will be no camaraderie. There will be no recompense. There will be no mercy. And now, hashtag Taco Bell Japan presents, hashtag not sponsored, hashtag please sponsor us, no mercy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Digital Era Twitch. I am one of your hosts for the evening, Digital Era Entertainment founder Mario Bueno, and welcome to No Mercy. I am very excited to once again be presiding over the mayhem, but I am not alone because once again I am being joined by Joel Gutman as well as Reach is Beast. Welcome. How are you two doing tonight?
Oh, I am hyped as heck after that intro. What was that? What?
Can I have your attention, please? I have just received an email from the anonymous D general manager.
We have an anonymous general manager? Okay then, all right.
Quote, due to the resounding success of the live fantasy booking of the inaugural Hololive Rumble, I have decided to make another one. This will not be another Rumble match, however. Instead, I am ordering Mario, Joel, and Taylor to book a brand new event, bigger and better than the previous, while building off of the storylines that they created in the Holo Rumble pay-per-view last month. I have presented the three of you with the structure for the event, which you will see in the attached document, as well as the name. You need merely to fill in the blanks. So without further ado, viewers of D-Stream, welcome to the live fantasy booking of No Mercy.
Woo! Yeah. And just a reminder, No Mercy is hashtag not brought to you by hashtag Taco Bell Japan, hashtag not sponsored, hashtag please sponsor us. And of course, we are very excited to tell you what the official theme song is because we can't play it because DMCA's. That is Within Temptations, What Have You Done? Go check that out. That is the official theme song of No Mercy. So yeah, the D anonymous general manager, man, I'm really going to need to do some digging for that one. has bestowed
man, I just read the emails.
Right? Has bestowed us with this bountiful pay-per-view listing. We are going to be continuing what we started last month for the Hololive Rumble. We are building towards No Mercy or Holomania next month. This is going to be very exciting. So again, we have our big fatal four-way main event. We have the I Quit match, which is basically our secondary main event of the evening. And we're basically going to be putting the rest of this together as we go along. So, yeah.
Now, before we begin, we need to cover a couple of ground rules on certain things we've set up beforehand.
Yes.
The first of which is that Coco is in the four-way, in the fatal four-way.
That is correct.
And that ultimately she will win. We have predetermined that circumstances being what they are with her recent graduation, it has been decided by the panel at large that Coco will face Roboco. Slightly confusing with the name, but also it fits anyways with the storyline that we established last time, which was basically 2 days before the announcement of her graduation, actually. So it all fits very nicely, even if unintentionally, that it was Roboco and Coco the two of them fighting it out at the end of the Royal Rumble. We've determined that Coco will get the rematch at the end of the day, so
Yes.
we need to know that. We know what the I Quit match will be. The only other things that we have determined is that none of the people that won a match or one of the main matches, so in Royal, can fight here. So Ollie is not applicable. She's going to be getting her own fight in Mania, but will not be participating. We have other plans for her. Sora will not be participating in anything else. I think for the rest of the season, I think she's now going to be permanent commentary with Achon, I believe.
That's fair. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And let's see here. Who else? So, what is our ruling going to be regarding people who did the other undercard ones at Rumble? Because we have Takamori here already. We obviously are not going to have Robico fighting. She's watching from literal on high, as we will cover later, and we will not have Ollie. But what about people from the other undercard matches? Do we say that they are in play, or are they going to be fighting again in Mania?
I think at this point we can say anyone is fair game other than those we've already ruled out. I actually have the card for the Hololive Rumble pulled up just as a refresher for those results and who was participating in what.
Excellent.
So that way we can, if there were any storylines that we did create in last month's event, we can continue off of those rolling into HoloNo Mercy.
Okay, cool.
So, and again, just as a refresher, first match was, actually, the first match we will address later on. The second match was the Inferno match of Subaru versus Rene, with Subaru winning and Rene getting turned into literal roast turkey. We had Shion versus Rushia, basically a battle of the magic users, with Rushia winning that one, and just overwhelmingly. We had the clumsy match of Aqua versus Risu, with Risu getting thrown firmly under the bus. And then the triple threat championship match for the IC title of Ollie versus Amelia versus Fubuki / surprise appearance from Kurokami, with Ollie walking away as the new Intercontinental Champion. And then everyone else on the Hololive roster participated in the 30-woman Rumble match, and we have the notes pulled up for that as well. So if there's anything that we want... Actually, let me go ahead and link that in our group chat, just so y'all can take a look at it as well.
Perfect. Yeah, because for our live viewers, they are seeing our current booking list for Hollow No Mercy, so I'm going to leave that pulled up on screen. For those of you who are watching live, first off, thank you very much. Do appreciate y'all coming on by to Digital Era Twitch tonight.
For this, oddball of a show.
Oh, well, if our Discord is anything to go by.
Last time, honestly, last time was so fun. I'm looking forward to this. This is something that we hope is going to be accessible both for people who are familiar with WWE and Hololive, not necessarily both, that we sort of run the spectrum, that Mario is the resident WWE specialist, I'm the resident Hololive specialist, and Taylor has a bit of both. And this way, we're all able to enjoy and just figure out what really amounts to fan fiction. But this is probably the funnest darn fan fiction I have ever, participated in.
Oh, absolutely.
Also,
yes.
I also literally studied English in college with an emphasis in creative writing, so I literally studied for this. So
been training your whole life for this, kid.
That's what I bring to the table.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I was going to say, for those of you who are watching live, if you did miss out on the Hololive Rumble, that is going to be available on our YouTube channel just a few days from the live broadcast of this. And if you're watching the YouTube version of this, well, awesome. You've probably gone back to back, and we really appreciate you following this amazing fantasy booking arc of things that, as per Digital Era entertainment tradition, really should not go as well together as they do. So hooray, keeping the tradition alive. Alrighty, so
what
yes.
do you all want for the 5 undercard matches? Do you have anything in mind? Do you think these should all be 1v1s? Do you think there might be a triple threat type match in here?
I think we should get at least one tag team match in here.
Yes.
Okay, so that means that there will be two. Oh yeah, because that's right. The I Quit match is not a tag team match.
No, it is not.
Oh.
That is a one-on-one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and there's a reason why it's double
yeah,
billed
that's
for
right,
the
because
main event spot, because it has main event level hype and build behind it because of who's going to be involved in that.
Yeah, it's like the I Quit match is basically the sub-main event.
Exactly.
So
And we'll get to all that later on. I don't want to reveal too much about that right now because I've actually been working really, really hard on booking that match.
okay. Well, in that case, maybe we should sort of work backwards and be like, we know what's going on with the I Quit match, and we know where it's going to end up. But the thing is,
Well, I do. Y'all don't.
well, we know the basics of how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the long and short of it at the moment is due to things that happened last time, the tag team belt has been vacated. So someone needs to claim it. So basically, I suppose what this is going to be is the temporary champions.
I think there's a way to make this work. So I guess this is going to be a night of tournaments. We could do, just either a straight up team versus team match, or we could have some sort of a qualifier. So maybe we could do like two tag team matches. The winners of each of those go on to Holomania to vie for the title.
Well, no, because spoiler alert, the band gets back together, so they're gonna have to fight whoever wins here at Mania.
I'm gonna throw an idea into the hat here for Mania, specifically for the tag team titles. I was gonna suggest a fatal 4-way ladder match at Mania.
Oh dear God!
So if we can find a way to build up to that,
So the 4 participants being the 4 from the 2 qualifying tag teams, or is this a separate thing from the tag team match?
like a fatal 4, the way a fatal 4-way ladder match for the tag team titles would work is 4 teams, so 8 people in total, and it's the first team to claim the tag team titles that are hung over the ring.
Gotcha.
Actually, let's take it back one notch. Since we already have some sort of 4-way contest going, why don't we have a singular tag team match? Or let's have 2 tag team matches.
No, what she's saying is that this will be a 4-way thing at Mania.
Right. No.
The qualifiers are now.
And that's what I was going to continue with. So we have two qualifiers tonight. So let's say, for example, match number 2 and match number 4 are both tag team qualifiers. The way it looks going into Holomania, those 2 are going to go for the title. But sometime between Hollow No Mercy and Holomania, off camera, presumably on a weekly television show, the third team enters the mix. So it becomes a triple threat ladder match. It becomes a triple threat match.
Yeah, okay,
they decide to add the ladder stipulation because we got to raise the stakes. How dare you, interlopers? You just decided to show up into this match when we had to go through this grueling tournament, you jerks. So we're going to hit you with ladders.
That works for me.
So
I am okay with this.
All right, so we'll do 2 qualifiers. That eats up 2 spots as well. So that's good, but it also keeps it, a little balanced.
And 8 talents right there. So that's real cool to have.
Typing.
What is typing? How does it
There we
work? Also, taking a look.
2 of the 3 remaining matches will just be one-on-ones. Do we want them to have a particular theme or anything? I feel like one of them needs to have a gimmick, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, actually, we technically have the gimmick match. That's the I Quit match. So I would say the remaining ones, just to balance it out, because we already have 2 tournament-style matches, and then a 4th final for a tournament that happened off camera. So the remaining slots should just be, more traditional things. Like we could maybe have like a 3-way match, but it shouldn't be anything too wild. Because this is, again, like the bridge between, the Rumble and Mania. We already have some specialty events going on because this is like the night of tournaments. This might as well have been like Survivor Series 1998, the deadly game. But
also, for me, who is not familiar with the event that is known as No Mercy. First off, I'd like to say that I give you 2 props for the naming here because
Oh no, don't give me any credit. That was all Mario.
all right, Mario gets points for Holo No Mercy because for those who aren't aware, no is a what would the proper phrase here? Is it a preposition or no, not a preposition, but it effectively means it's the word of in Japanese.
Yeah, so it's very loaded
because you have Hangyaku no Lelouch, which is Lelouch of the Rebellion, and you'll see blank no blank in a lot of anime and manga titles because it is a very common word. So you really got the double meaning here with the language. So well done.
Thank you. It was very much, much like a lot of other things with this whole thing, pure serendipity, because
it is a preposition. I was right there. Haha.
Yeah, to give you an idea, so traditionally in the period between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, there's always this kind of intermediary pay-per-view event. The name has changed over the years, and we went through a couple of the different ones, but No Mercy, besides being the name for one of the greatest wrestling video games ever made, period, end of sentence, full stop, however you want to phrase that. It also just kind of fit with the mashing up of the Hololive moniker in some capacity. And given what we have going on in our main event and especially our sub-main event, it just really fit the attitude of this particular event. So yeah, and that theme song that we have just
the
is
classic No Mercy event. What was the format that night?
It literally was just either someone trying to take the belt off the current champion before WrestleMania. It's basically, think of it as the last chance before WrestleMania to either be the contender going into WrestleMania or the champion going in. So a lot of times you'll traditionally see the champion either hot potato their belt just before the main event, which usually doesn't happen, but there have been a few times where that has been kind of the big surprise of the year, or contenders having their number one contendership at risk because some salty person who probably got dumped out right before they did during the Royal Rumble is just like, I want my rematch. It's not fair. You cheated, you cheater. Oh, my feels. My feels.
So I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. There's the first No Mercy match was in May of '99. Wait, that's UK. October '99, and these are all October events. There was 2000 through 2008. Then there was a hiatus. Then there was one in 16 and one in 17. Is there a particular one of these that you would say is more iconic than the others?
I would say none of them, because most of the No Mercy events generally tended to happen at, like you said, later in the calendar year. So the ones that would usually pop up for this between period had been Backlash, which also did serve as a post-WrestleMania pay-per-view. In more recent years, you had Fastlane, which, that's been a thing. They had some of the dumbest promos and some of the dumbest builds during those Fastlane events. Or Roadblock, Road to WrestleMania, because the Road to WrestleMania, they thought they were being clever. It's like, I get it. It is clever, but oh God, the visual motifs just hurt my soul. So we went with the cool one, is basically the takeaway.
Also, we don't talk about Fastlane.
Yeah, we don't talk about Fastlane. This was more mentioned than Fastlane deserved, just because it was for context for Joel.
And like that, we will never mention it again. Moving on.
Exactly. So there you go. Hopefully
I understand nothing, but I won't ask anymore.
Don't worry about it.
The TLDR is, traditionally speaking, whatever this intermediary pay-per-view between the Rumble and Mania tends to either just be kind of a filler or in some cases, a surprise twist going into WrestleMania. In this case, we have less so the surprise twist and more so going into that last chance motif. So that's going to be the main focus of this particular No Mercy event. So obviously that's represented by Coco in the Fatal 4-Way. So, this is the last chance. This is the last hurrah. Will Coco finally get her spot in the HoloMania main event? So
And
that's
who,
the
boy,
through line here.
if anyone here is actually, a Hololive fan, Last Chance in Coco right now hits you right in the Kokoro.
Exactly. So as much as it stings, it also works so well for the purposes of building this narrative. Because just man, like this is definitely the equivalent of a professional wrestler's like last match before they go into permanent retirement, and the stakes are just ridiculously high when you tie that in. So it is perfect pro wrestling storytelling.
So where would you like to start? Do you want to do the 1v1 matches? Do you want to fill out the tag qualifiers? Or do you want to just dive right in for the Fatal 4? I feel like we have to end with the Fatal 4-Way, honestly.
Oh, yeah. We definitely have to end with the Fatal 4-Way.
Do you want to do the tag matches or the 1v1 matches first?
I think we should knock out the singles matches first, especially because one of them is the opening match. So that's kind of, the pace setter for the show,
Okay.
I would say. So what do you all have?
What do you want to have here?
I think we should open up pretty strong with like something high octane, like to really get the crowd like on their feet at the start of the show.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I really get that energy going right out the gate.
Yeah, because especially like if we're imagining that, we had the hype package, the imaginary hype package that we started the show with having just played, and like an arena full of fans was seeing that hype package too. They're just like, yeah, you had the pyros going off right after that whole thing. You have, the theme song blasting in the arena. So people are just like, they are ready for this show. There is a lot of anticipation for this main event, but they want to see some action. So let's give them some action to start.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw a name out here. Since we want action, we want high octane, and given what we saw last month at the Rumble, why don't we have Subaru be the first one to come out?
Ooh, okay. Curveball here.
Oh wow, that is a choice.
Yeah, because Subaru is not your traditional powerhouse. She's not one of these big bulky, characters who's gonna just beat you down. But the fact that she is canonically the president of the MMA club means that she is one of the most, if not the most, technical fighter on the roster. And she is coming off of a win. It was a bit of a drubbing, as we mentioned, in the last event. So if we want to bring her in, sure. I kind of was thinking that we were going to do something with her at Mania, because I guess, do we expect if someone is used, apart from, we obviously have the things for the tag match, and for those who are coming in for the Fatal 4-Way, how many of these people do we expect to see in all three events? Because I guess, just sort of thinking here, Subaru is a really unique piece on the roster, and I feel like she needs to be part of Mania some way. And I don't want to overuse her either. So the question is it okay to use her in all three events when she's not going to be the headliner in any of them?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you have
for
those
Subaru, yes.
Yeah, if you have those popular talents that may not be, in the main event per se, but are still that kind of an exciting draw, you can put them anywhere on the card.
Definitely, Subaru is absolutely a draw.
Oh yeah, so if you're starting it off with, a talent like that, the crowd's already at a fever pitch, that's going to make them pop even harder for the start of the show. So we're already cooking with gas.
Cool. Now, the follow-up question to this is, she won her match at Rumble. How do we want to set up her overarching arc for this season? Do we want to have her lose here and then look to have her win at Mania? Do we want to see her win out and just be one of the most dominant undercard talents ever? Do you have an idea of where we would actually chart her? Because based on that is where I'm going to be looking for her opponent.
I would argue, based off of what I do know, and even with what we're seeing in the chat from RJ. By the way, hey there, RJ. thanks for joining us, and also putting together the awesome art for the YouTube edition of the Hololive Championship Wrestling
he just
arc.
Kind of like ran with it just in the days immediately following Royal Rumble. That I was getting messages from him 2 to 3 times a day of him just whipping up these art pieces. We did not ask him to make these. We did not commission RJ. RJ doesn't even do art technically on this channel. He does games with me on Thursday, but he just went to town.
Yeah, like literally all I asked him for was just like the thumbnail image, and then suddenly we've got like this whole pay-per-view but with illustrations. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah,
dude.
You got like full picture book levels here.
Yeah. So based on all of that, I feel like Subaru needs to be like that dominant force, like in to use examples from other promotions, like like your Lance Archers, your basically your big beefy characters who just come on out and just wreck people. And even though people expect it to be kind of a one-sided ass whipping, basically, they're still going to eat it up. Like even Brock Lesnar, before he became a main eventer, like just seeing this big heaping a hunk of meat just walking out to the ring and just wrecking somebody, people were still excited for that. So yeah, that's a thing to consider there. So while this may not be, a physically intimidating specimen, this is clearly someone who can just like wreck people.
Here's the other thing to consider too, especially if we are going to have her now in all 3 events. One, she does need to have that momentum going into Mania of the, oh my god, she is unstoppable. She's going to win at Mania for sure.
So she
but
needs
the other
to win
thing
here.
She does.
Oh, yeah.
But the other reason being, we don't want her to fall victim to the concept of 50-50 booking. Because that is the easiest way to just completely kill a talent's push or their momentum. And it's basically... It's not a good look. If it's win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. It's... Pick one or the other. Like have them go on like 100-match losing streak and then finally break that streak, or have them win match after match after match after match, and they are the most dominant and unstoppable person on the roster. Who could possibly stop Subaru? And that is the question that we would need to answer at Mania.
Yeah, and to use a women's wrestling example, Asuka. One of our perennial favorites. Her whole gimmick up until actually a WrestleMania was that she was undefeated both in the NXT division and then on the main roster after making the transition. So she was just this unstoppable force until a WrestleMania match, which a lot of people would argue was booked really badly. And she won that year's Royal Rumble too, which was worse because it's like, oh boy, Asuka won the Rumble, this is gonna be great. Oh, they jobbed her out at Mania. Oh, that sucked. Yeah, exactly, that was a big oof.
So for Hollow No Mercy, to bring it all back to the center,
yes,
I feel like for a high energy, high octane match, we need to give Subaru someone that she can beat, but will still give her a good match.
Yeah,
and that will give the crowd a good match.
Rene.
Yeah, that was that. It was funny for the sake of the joke.
Yes,
but
but here it has to be legitimate.
Unfortunately, we can't make it a grudge match in the Indonesian branch. Well, actually, can we? I was going to say we can't make it in her generation because Ali's off the table. That leaves only Anya, and Anya is small, adorable, and sleepy. And she can turn into a sword, but she can't wield herself, so that's what made it particular in the Rumble. But she's not a good one-on-one fighter at all. She might be someone potentially for the team matches, but we'll see about that.
Yeah.
That said, of all of the Indonesian talents, if you want to be someone who's coming up and saying, you beat the snot out of Rene, I'm gonna fight for her honor, the biggest contender left in that portion of the roster is going to be Muna.
Yeah, Muna.
And I guess the question is, do we want to take that route of, okay, we're fighting for the honor of the Indonesian branch and then quashing it again, or do we want to go something else? The more I think about it, I don't want to heap dirt on the Indonesian branch. So maybe it's not Muna, actually.
I was gonna say, would there be another Hololive talent, regardless of which division, who would be that kind of person who'd be like, "Yo, you beat up this other talent. Like, what the heck? I do not approve of this. I will fight for their honor. I don't care if we're in the same."
First name that comes to mind would be Noelle.
Ooh.
Maybe. Now the thing is, I was already gonna talk about Noelle later.
Okay.
I want to give her a win tonight.
Okay.
Because she performed so dang well at Rumble, and we didn't give it to her, and just she deserves it because she knocked out how many people? I think she had the highest body count.
Actually, I feel
I want to give her something, and just everything about her character. Anyways, she is strong enough to warrant a good victory, and I want to make sure that she gets that.
I just looked at the notes. Noelle eliminated 5 contenders, more than anyone else.
Yeah. So I was going to say, because I think I was thinking of Noelle when I was trying to figure out who would be like the perfect final boss for Subaru to throw down with at Holomania. I think we found who she'll eventually be fighting, because this sounds like a good matchup.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though, that just by all rights, when I think about them, Noelle should beat Subaru because she's just bigger, badder, stronger. But then again, maybe that's the whole technical thing of, Subaru being this, Floyd Mayweather type of fighter who's just very technical. And even if they don't have traditional power, that the thought of Subaru toppling Noelle in and of itself is something that I say that can't happen. That shouldn't happen. Maybe that's why it should happen.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, that sounds like it's a good build. So we should save Noelle for Mania.
That means Noelle needs to win tonight, though.
If we put her in a match tonight, absolutely. But definitely not in the match with Subaru tonight. So I would say let's make a note to match them up for Mania, because that feels like the natural climax of this arc for Subaru in particular. It's like, okay,
I do feel bad that we're making Noelle lose in the end because she's great, but someone's got to lose.
Yeah, and we kind of set that up so far. She had a dominant performance in the Rumble, but she ultimately lost. This is a case where the 50-50 booking works in her favor, because we do want to reestablish her going into Mania as like this top tier threat. Because realistically, the only other big threat from what I can recall would have been Coco, but she's in the main event, so that's out. So she feels like the next best option.
Real good fighters that you could put in there, especially if you're going to lean into the supernatural side. That if you say, okay, it doesn't necessarily need to be a traditional brawn v brawn type of battle, then there's a lot more possibilities. That someone who's never mind, I know who it is. Because now it sets it up perfectly.
Okay.
It has to be Flair. I was going to say, you could have someone super technical who's using a bow and arrow like Flair does and stuff, and then it hit me, of course it has to be Flair, because that's why Noelle is after Subaru in Mania.
Okay, I like this.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Because as we've established in the last one, just, Flair and Noelle are a pair, and we had the Lovers' Betrayal for Glory in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So
do we?
Flair comes in, and it's a technical fight of, MMA versus archery and elvish combat. And when Flair loses, that throws Noelle off the handle.
Do we just go ahead and say that Subaru wins via submission? Like, as in she gets Flair to tap out?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm wondering if a knockout might be a little bit more appropriate to pull it together from how she got her elimination. Which, oh god, the visuals for that in the YouTube version of the Rumble.
Hey, nobody knocks out my wife but me.
How dare you put hands on my wife? How dare you knock her out? You
I know I did that last month, but that was me.
Oh boy.
So,
okay, so it's Subaru versus Flair.
So via KO,
or at very least pinfall.
Or TKO.
So pinfall, but it's some sort of a knockout blow that makes it possible. so that we can, have that parallel to the super kick heard around the world.
Alrighty.
I'm looking back at our notes from last time, and I still am super amusing. 15, Sora, eliminated by Sora, does three-song halftime performance, then exits stage left.
Only in Hololive Championship Wrestling, pal.
All right, so that's the opening match, and that would be a heck of a match because that also we immediately then establish it. So maybe Noelle doesn't. Well, I guess the question is, does Noelle fight tonight? Because since we now have a very personal thing baked into the actual story just of this 1v1, we don't necessarily even need to make Noelle fight tonight.
I say, in this case, I think Noelle sits out because she is not leaving Flair's side for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I like that. That's super sweet.
Also, let's check the Vinceometer for how this booking is going. Yep.
Where's the Vinceometer here? Where is it?
It's on stream. It's on stream.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't.
Vinceometer, it checks out.
One sec, because I didn't have the stream brought up, but now I'm gonna have to.
No worries. I'll make this easier for.
What is the Vinceometer?
When you get a chance, you don't have to now, Mario. But when you get a chance, just throw that GIF into our group chat.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely be using the Vinceometer. RJ in the chat. It's such good sheep.
Well, hey, no, we don't have Watame in here yet.
Womp womp.
Yet though, because we need to go on to the next match. So, do we want Watame?
Well, next match is our first qualifier tag match. So let's take a look and see who all we have that we can pair together.
And remember, one of these pairs, we're going to have to want them to basically get yeeted off a ladder in a month's time. So keep that in mind. It's very, very important.
Watame is, I think, too soft, literally and figuratively. So I don't see her winning this match if she's in this one. Depending on who she fights, if we were to do a 1v1 for her, she might win, but I don't see her going on as part of a team.
Let's see.
Also, sidebar for my fellow co-hosts, if you check out the Discord window, I am sharing my OBS so that y'all can have real-time updates when we get some of our graphics, so you don't have to follow along with the lag.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Things I should have thought about ahead of time, but again, like last time, I'm remembering all this as we're going along. So, like, I'm proud that I got us our hashtag not sponsor for this stream. Hashtag not sponsored by hashtag Taco Bell Japan. Hashtag please sponsor us.
Now, when I said I wasn't sure if we were going to have a food-related sponsor, I wasn't sure if it was going to be this or Go-Go Curry. So.
Oh, yeah, no, it was going to have to be Taco Bell.
Quality adorable.
Quality food for if you are a real person and not an entire hive of space insects wearing a human suit. Ernest, what are you still doing on the roof? It's been 2 bloody weeks. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Speaking of which, folks, next week at this time, we'll be continuing our run of Dream Daddy.
You're welcome. I set you up for that one. Thank you for following through. But yes, back to the qualifier tag match number 1. So again, one of these two teams, one of these two teams is going to be going on to Holomania. So we're basically booking 2 things in both this and the other qualifying match. So keep that in mind while we're putting these teams together.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is the thing with Takamori is that they embody both supernatural and physical fighting abilities because they have a sword and a scythe, and they also have fire and, death stuff.
Yeah.
Now, maybe what we do for these 2 qualifier matches is, since they're not supposed to be on the table, you have a brains versus brawn type of thing. So brains being supernatural abilities, brawn being obvious. So the 2 qualifiers is 2 teams of, magic users or something that isn't normal physical strength versus 2 teams that are just, duking it out properly. And the gimmick that is supposed to happen is, all right, we have the qualifier of Brawn versus Brawn and Brains versus Brains tonight, and then it's Brains versus Brawn at Mania.
Ooh. Well, again, there's going to be that third team in the mix, so I guess they're going to be kind of the...
but I'm saying what the plan is. Yes, the plan's going to get set. But that, and especially since Takamori embodies sort of a good combination anyways, that having, the pure 4 here and then working up to it, where you'll also have the mixed team, so to speak, I think works pretty well.
May I make a suggestion here for the Brawn versus Brawn for tonight?
Go for it.
Muna and Iofi versus Mio and Fubuki.
Ooh, okay. Because Mio and Fubuki, I think, make a very good team, and I could absolutely seeing them going on to Mania. Muna and Iofi, I don't really consider very brawny. She's rather small. Definitely Muna. I could definitely see Muna. But Iofi, she's the artistic alien. She is not much of a fighter.
Did you say
I see what you were going
alien?
for there, though, having the Indonesian branch and then doing also the Wolves of Japan. I like that as their team name, the Wolves of Japan, actually.
Is that legit? Or is this a thing that we're calling on the spot?
No, I'm coining this right now.
Okay, yeah, because I'm going to be honest, that sounds like a really badass tag team name, or at least a nickname for that team.
All right, so
Bucket!
So Mio and Fubuki for sure.
Yes, I'm going to lock that in. Heck, part of me says, they should just win. That we need to find out now who they're going to beat, because that's just a great team. Fubuki alone commands a lot of star power. Mio and Fubuki are a known good team. Heck, in the Hololive alternative trailer, you see the two of them fighting Ayame.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's definitely precedent for this. That's good.
There
That's
is
good.
Absolute precedent here. Plus, it's the black versus white aesthetic. It could end up becoming a full black aesthetic if Kurokami comes out, but that's a separate issue.
Either way, I'm definitely not jobbing out the team that is, the Wolves of Japan. That sounds so cool. Good. Oh God, I want a shirt with that now.
By the way, RJ and I have been talking back and forth about assigning different entrance themes to the talent, and we've both agreed that Mio, at the very least, gets Baron Corbin's old theme song, "End of Days." It makes sense to give the Wolf the theme of the Lone Wolf.
Yep.
I nod and say, yes, I understand completely. Doesn't understand at all.
Basically, this character was like this badass quasi biker dude before they
my God, he was such a badass back then.
They stuck him with a whole bunch of dumb gimmicks. That's another rant for another time. But the point is, a badass lone wolf biker guy who just went around beating dudes up. And the whole motif of that entrance was, as the name implies, it was very apocalyptic. There was all this imagery of a cityscape on fire and really cool lighting effects for when he came out. It was pretty badass. So for the Wolves of Japan to have that kind of an intro, heck yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. I would pop for that.
Who do we...
Now here's the thing that I just thought of for the other one, because Muna is one that I would usually qualify as a brawn, but we could make her a brains if we paired her with Pekora.
Oh,
because Taylor,
that's dangerous.
That's the thing. Pekomuna versus the Wolves of Japan as what is supposed to happen at Mania. That is electric.
Bucket!
Check the Vinceometer.
Okay. Because that's the other thing that I want to... God, I love that so much.
Yep. We're booking it, pal.
The other thing I was thinking, all right, I want to make sure, like last time, that we get at least one victory from every branch. EN is obviously going to be represented in some way because we have a EN-only fight later on.
Yes.
Japan obviously is going to get victories because it's the most populous one. That's very easy, but we need to make sure that Indonesia gets its due. And even if it's not a full Indonesian team, if there's an Indonesian representative, I still count that as making sure that Indonesia gets a win here. And so
Agreed.
the question I was saying is, okay, I think Muna's a really good fighter. Who do we pair her with? And it was like, oh, of course, it's got to be Pekka Muna. That this is canon.
Yeah, and RJ in the chat, you're putting the wolves against the prey. Yes, we are.
We are, but the thing is, remember, Pekara's a freaking war criminal. There's a solid chance that you look at this on paper and say, yeah, she could absolutely take out the wolves. You have no idea what that mad woman is thinking at any given time. She's dangerous.
Not to mention, you're putting her on a team with the Hoshinova princess.
Yeah, with one of her most loyal subordinates, who is also just genuinely powerful in her own right.
Like,
The Pekka Muna dynamic is, the small, brilliant ruler who has the big, scary bodyguard, but the two actually have a great dynamic.
it basically boils down to Pecora says kill and Muna says how many.
But it's the thing of just. But Pecora says, by the way, watch out for these landmines that I planted here, here, and here. That Pecora's not just, sitting back and like commanding a troop. It's all right. She is the brains of this operation for sure. But there's a reason that I said, okay, we're going to put her in the brains category here because like I said, she can do terrible, unspeakable things. So we now have one of the brain teams, one of the brawn teams, and we need to find our two pairs of losers.
Let's start with the brawn first, since we're at the top of the card still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through. I'm trying to think.
We could do for brawn ones. I could see Lammy. I could see Watame being considered a brawn fighter. Just the charging sheep / ram. We could just do Okakoro. It'd be super cute.
We could, but at the same time, I don't want to pit gamers versus gamers.
Oh, that's right. Good call. Well, then again, is just a full gamers match kind of cool in its own regard.
The gamers.
Well, I'm gonna let the coin decide. Try it again.
Oh no! RJ in the chat. Princess of Pain, Pecco.
Because part of me kind of likes that of just, 2v2 gamers versus gamers does sound pretty hype. And it's that...
Okay.
Because Okakoro is already a thing versus Fubuki and Mio. I guess the only thing is that feels like it'd be potentially a drubbing, but maybe what it is that people expect Mio and Fubuki to come in and just wreck, the little girls that are Korone and Okayu, but that the two of them actually hold their own and make it a really compelling match. That this is not the drubbing that it looks like it should be on paper. It ends how everyone expects it to.
Yeah.
But the mere fact that the opposition puts up a very real fight and brings the other team to the brink, really just, that's that type of unexpected match, even if it's the ending people expected, I think is still very exciting.
Also keeping in mind, too, Okayu, she's a freaking cat. She's nimble and fast as hell.
Yep.
Like, she's going to be hard to
after
catch.
The onigiri, what was it?
The onigiri screw job.
The onigiri screw job, yeah. Because that's the thing. I want to see them, they had their scraps in the Rumble, and they then just went and both bought more onigiri after the show and made up, and it was great.
Hooray! Friendship!
Yay!
But actually...
Okay, so we have
I'm
gamers
sold.
versus gamers in the Brawn tag team match. Plus, that's just such a good line for the hype package. Gamers versus gamers.
I mean, that's just any esports con, but...
You're not wrong.
But actually...
okay, so who would be the other team then for to go up against Pecco Muna?
brains. So I want to choose someone who, magical abilities, something special going on here. If we wanted to go back and put in another Indonesian talent, that this could be something where Anya makes a very interesting tag team partner in that even though she doesn't do a lot herself, the fact that she can be literally wielded as a weapon. The other option, I suppose, we could pick one of our dark magic users. We could use I don't see Rene fighting now.
She's still recovering after the Rumble.
Yeah.
We could have. We do need to get in. I want to get in at least one English talent outside of the I Quit match, and I don't care where it is. So it could be here. Maybe put one into the Fatal 4-Way. Actually, more thing, but I do want at least one EN talent in the Fatal 4-Way.
Okay. So,
But the question is, do we put in another one here or somewhere else?
I'm trying to think of who all because from Ian we have to choose from Gura, Ina, and Ame. I'm trying to think of who all the three of them would pair well with from the other branches.
Yeah. So Ina, obviously, I feel Ina's probably too much brawn because her tentacles are indeed very good weapons. So she probably wouldn't be the one. If there was going to be a brains fight, I think it has to be Ame. Because
it has to be Ame.
Because we know that Gura is not a brain.
Yeah, I was about to say. Or what if you pair brain and brawn? 2-for-1 deal.
Well, no, because that was the whole point of having 2v2 brains versus brawns. So I don't want to break that. So it could be Ame paired with
who would be a good who would be a good teammate for Ame?
Ha! I see what you did there.
Thank you.
Now, if anything, I just want to have her in there more, just because she would make that pun absolutely.
I'm looking through the list.
We could give her Suisei. Of just, the two kind of unassuming girls who don't actually have, and one of them has magical powers, but the other is just a cold calculating killer because, Suisei versus Pekora, that's an interesting thing. Heck, I could see that as just a 1v1 sometime. Or heck, maybe Ame versus Suisei is its own 1v1 match. I'm not sure.
Ooh.
So, as a reminder, Mario, Suisei is also known as the sociopath, the psychopath killer. She is best known, I forget which game it was. It wasn't Among Us, but she did also do an Among Us of just, she will remorselessly go through and kill her enemies in games. Just absolute cold-blooded killer.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Suisei because, in theory, depending on what goes down in this match, that could be a setup for the match that you want to see, Joel, but at Mania, because that sounds like a Mania-level undercard match.
Which one did I want her paired up with?
That was Suisei versus who?
If I understood correctly, it was Suisei versus Watson.
Okay.
So
that was me sort of throwing out a bunch of different ideas.
But it sounds
not
good though.
But it is pretty good because basically, yeah.
So I say we use this to set that up.
Because obviously, whoops. Muna and Pekora are winning this one and going on
exactly
to Mania. Let's see.
And then by virtue of the two of them losing, that they butt heads, and that's what sets up the match at Mania.
Like something in that loss specifically, like the circumstances need to really justify it. Because you could easily
there's a miscommunication, a clashing of egos. Something happens that causes the team dynamic to just completely fall apart mid-match, costing them the match, and then they take that heat to Holomania.
Exactly.
Something goes haywire with Ame's time traveling and causes the iteration of Suisei that appears to her has just a very slightly different idea than the one in the timeline that she was in previously, because she went back and changed something very subtle and butterfly effect of just, Ame was expecting her to be on the right side of the ring, but she decided to go on the left side in this timeline, or because of some very small thing. And that fumble causes the miscommunication of Suisei blames Ame blames Suisei because she doesn't know what she did in the past timeline when she, flipped around to cause the change in direction. Plus, just timeline shenanigans and miscommunications are always fun, right?
Yep. I do really like the idea of an unintentional butterfly effect being the cause of a match being blown, because there's just something very appealing about that, because like that would never happen in real life, obviously. So because we have,
it's so good for this,
and that's what I was gonna say, because we have the benefit of fantasy booking, we can use all these, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly shenanigans. It works. Wait, I can finally do it. I was just queuing something up. We may need to censor this in post, but just in case, let me just queue up the right to Cena. Whoop. I think it's right around there. We'll find out.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're good. I think we're good. Thank you, Censor Cena.
Still caught a little bit of it, but
It's close enough. We're fine.
So yeah, that's
right.
how I feel. Thank you, Puppet
Cool.
Vince.
So we have our 2 tag team matches now set, and we also just, as a side benefit, got one of the things for Mania. Love it.
Yeah, we just booked a solid undercard. Like, that's the kind of undercard match that is really, Mania worthy. Even if it's not a main event or something like that, it's one of those like Mania matches.
Because it's 2 that just.
Oh no! I hear laughter. I hear cackling and laughter. I'm afraid.
Y'all keep going. I'll do my thing after.
Okay.
So, yeah, because we got a lot out of that, and Ame and Suisei are both very big draws in and of themselves.
Yes.
That will absolutely be a compelling draw for Mania.
Yeah.
Now, before we go on we have 2 1v1 matches left to cover before doing the blocking for I Quit and then the Fatal 4-Way. Now seems like a good time to discuss a couple side things that we have. So we have established that Robico is here. She's not participating because she has won the Royal Rumble. She is qualified for Mania. She is currently watching literally from on high in her, full robotic wedding dress regalia.
Which we now have on screen.
Yep. Thank you.
Watching from on high.
from a skybox. And I'm imagining full Erina Nakiri from Food Wars. You know how it's just the thing of her sitting on the throne and watching it down passively. I imagine that for Robico here.
Looking down.
Damn it, RJ.
I'm not even watching the chat. I don't know what RJ's done. What did he do?
He don't worry about it.
Okay. And the other thing that we've established, Ali is not participating. She was offered a skybox, as is her right as one of the title winners from the previous event. She declined and instead requested front row seats in the main seating area because being the ultimate Hololive fan, she wanted to be in the crowd yelling. She has a poster in each hand. She's decked out in merch, stuff hanging off the sides of her swords. And the thing is, her manager was not happy about this. She was like, why are you going to go out in the middle of the thing? Just the crowd's going to go nuts being around you. You're going to be potentially in danger. You don't want to get swarmed by fans, potentially get injured before Mania. This is a bad idea, Ollie. I'm not going to let you do this unless you literally have a bodyguard sitting on either side of you. Ollie said yes to this. And then she immediately started going around Hololive asking every single girl that she could, will you come to No Mercy as my bodyguard? She was basically asking them on dates.
She is. Ollie is Hololive's ultimate shrimp.
She is.
That's exactly what it boils down to.
Like, Mario, I'm not sure if you've seen it. She is already... The other thing is, she is Hololive's most prolific Apex player. She was going just absolutely crazy over Iris and, just I'll show you some of the tweets later.
No, it's not like going crazy doesn't even begin to describe it. Like Iris is finally freed from Twitter jail for 10 seconds, and Ollie is already asking her, "Hi, I'm Ollie. Do you play Apex?"
So
Like,
basically, the
jeez.
comparison that was drawn when we were coming up with this, I'm going to throw a visual for those of you watching live. Ollie is basically this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She is so hyped. She's so happy. And so the other thing is we need to decide what two talents are not participating tonight because they've gone effectively on a date with Ollie because they're supposed to be her bodyguards. Maybe we figure that out at the end of the night with whoever's left over. I don't know, but
I think so.
This,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is what I had
We'll worry about that later.
Yeah, we'll worry about that later. But Ollie is here. She's not in a skybox because she wouldn't have it. Her manager demanded that she have bodyguards. Ollie used this as an opportunity to ask other talents out on dates.
Oh my God,
Also,
RJ in the chat, I gotta call this out. Riz,
And obviously, Iris is tonight's halftime show. That between matches 4 and 5, I think, we have her come out. She does a performance because Sora and Achan are doing commentary tonight, so she's otherwise preoccupied. Plus, she already did the Rumble halftime show, and this is the debut concert for Hololive EN's new V-singer, Iris.
I would also like to point out, I love that we have like legitimate halftime shows baked into this.
Yes, we do. 'Cause,
Normally-
hey, Hololive's an idol company, remember?
Yeah, because I was gonna say normally that sort of stuff really brings down wrestling shows, but in this case, this is like okay,
It's its
the wrestler,
own
like the wrestler
crazy
Maki
thing.
Ito, who is a legitimate former idol. Like she basically has a concert every time she comes to the stage. This is that, but like a full ass concert. Also, hey there, Ken. Welcome to the stream. Glass shatters. Cue music. Throw Ken all the beers. Every single beer. But yeah, so I just had to quickly observe that point because I do really appreciate that that's becoming kind of a thing for these
Oh, yeah.
HoloLive Championship Wrestling events.
So now
Oh,
we need to
just
figure out-
just wait till you hear what I have planned for Mania.
Oh boy, I'm excited because I don't actually have a vision for Mania quite yet, so I was gonna have to think of
Oh,
something. But if you have it,
I've
all
been
yours,
working.
Taylor.
I've been working on Mania for like not match wise, but like entrance wise and stuff like that. I've been working on Mania
You've
for
been
a
working
while.
on the peripherals.
Oh yeah.
Yes, good.
Okay, so who are we doing for our last two 1v1s? I want to have something silly in here. So non-conventional fighters. We had the Klutz match last time. I don't want it to be another just straight up Klutz match, but I want it to be something lighthearted in that vein.
Hmm.
So I'm doing a bit of a cross out of a couple things to see who we still have as viable because we've written Noelle out of potential.
I'm still looking over the notes from the Rumble to see if there are any storylines that we could continue to build off of here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, to take a look at the chat here. So Ken, no, we are not doing creator wrestlers for this. Although we have had conversations. we took it up.
Maybe
took it up with
someday.
corporate.
Maybe someday.
Not this time.
Not this time around. No.
Yes.
This is how we feel about it. This is how we'd like it to be. But that's not how it's going to be.
No.
Because we don't have the resources.
We don't have that time.
Yet.
We literally just part of the great thing about this Hololive fantasy booking is we don't do any significant pre-planning. That just if people think of things, we have a group chat where people drop stuff in, but otherwise this really is all on the fly.
Ooh.
It would take time to actually build those fighters.
Actually, a thing that was just thrown into the chat by RJ. So we talked about the etymology of No Mercy, and in one of the No Mercy shows, there was the Good Housekeeping match. Taylor, do we want to
Please
get
edumacate
into
me.
not just like the context of the match itself, but also everything that was surrounding it from like the behind the scenes stuff, or should we just give the TLDR version? Your
Haven't
call.
even heard of this.
Oh, so you're not familiar. Okay, so let's take you back to 1999, pal.
Oh,
Excited.
So this was
Story time.
an intercontinental title match. Ha ha, considering who we were just talking about. So intercontinental title match between Double J, Jeff Jarrett, the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, self-proclaimed.
I was about to say the Miz would like to have a few words.
and China. This was when Jeff Jarrett was on the way out. He was going to be jumping ship to WCW. I don't believe there had been any discussions about that, but this was during the peak of the Monday Night Wars. So the long and the short of it is he had to drop the belt on the way out because he was having this intergender feud and was just like not having any of this, even though China is, basically the best Hall of Famer to not be a Hall of Famer because reasons, which is very unfortunate. He basically held up Vince for a whole bunch of money and basically like doubled it and then dropped the belt on the way out. This Good Housekeeping match, because his whole gimmick at the time was basically being like this really terrible misogynist. That was his whole heel gimmick at that time. As the name infers, Good Housekeeping means they were literally hitting each other with things like the kitchen sink.
So everything and the kitchen sink.
Yup.
I see.
Yeah. So what do you say we do something, if not a literal Good Housekeeping match, maybe something parallel to that would be appropriate for Hololive?
Well, if we're going to go with a Good Housekeeping match, we have to have the maid.
Yeah, we do.
There we go. We've already bucket, pal. Bucket.
All right, Minato. Aqua,
There we go.
You're getting the
Vince-ometer.
call, girl.
Vince is interested. Let's see how this goes.
All right, who else has housekeeping either baked into their
made house cleaning
lore?
match? Yes. Ken definitely has an appreciation for this as the resident maid guy.
She's surprisingly in a roster of darn near 50. She's the only proper maid. So give them credit where credit is due in making sure there's diversity in the concepts here.
Yes. RJ.
What did you do, RJ? You could say they were maid.
I've already said GD once on the stream, so I'm not going to say it again. Instead, I'm just going to shake my head at you in disappointment. You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head at you, sir.
Also, I have an idea for the other 1v1 that I will cover once we figure out who Aqua's opponent is.
Alrighty.
We could
Okay, so we got maid. Who's the biggest slob in Hololive?
Slob. Okay.
I feel like that would make sense.
A lot of options.
You have the maid who's trying to, have some good housekeeping, and then you have this slob who just keeps messing it all up, and she just can't take it anymore, so she's gonna beat them with the kitchen sink, like you do.
By virtue of her terrible cooking, is it bad that my mind immediately went to Hachima?
Oh my god, I love it. So for reference, Hachima is the one who's made cursed dishes such as Tarantula Surprise. Yes,
That sounds
you heard that right.
disgusting. Oh God.
Yes, she ate a tarantula.
Ugh.
Yeah, so
That's very
Hachima
cursed.
is doing something cursed in the kitchen, gets the attention of Aqua, and the two duke it out.
Well. Here's the thing. Do we? I actually just got an idea for this. Well, let me just say this. I guess it starts as Aqua versus Akihato.
Oh.
And then mid-match, we basically pull the
transformation.
The Kurokami bit of Akihato transforms into Hachima.
Yeah. By the way, this one would be a bit of a drubbing. That Hachima would absolutely destroy Aqua. I don't think this one would be particularly close. It'd be funny as heck, though. And I feel like just the choreography for this would be very fun, and we can block it out that it makes it fun, but it's half of it is going to be Hachima just sort of toying with her prey.
RJ, I freaking hate you.
I looked away for a moment. What do we?
Good
Oh
Lord.
my God! By God, it's gonna be a slobber knocker. By God, the puns.
He is on
the
fire
puns
today with these awful puns. Like,
Oh my God.
as we say in the community, enough.
Mario, remind me what is the win stipulation for a good housekeeping match? Is it just by pinfall or submission?
Yeah, it's basically just a no DQ match because again, or rather, it's a hardcore match. So by virtue of that, it's pinfall submission. Yeah. But yeah, and here's the thing, because we just made it that kind of a stipulation match, even though, yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a one-sided butt whooping, the fact that it is a hardcore match means it can be stretched out and played for laughs without it being like, the clumsy match in the Holo Rumble where it's like, oh, haha, they're all so clumsy. Here it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, please, stop, she's already dead. it's that kind of elongation of the inevitable. It's like, oh no, we know this is going to end poorly. Maybe Hachima has a chance.
The pre-transformation fight can be a fair fight, but once Hachima gets let out, then it's no contest.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Once Hachima is unleashed, it's over.
But it could be pretty interesting when it's just Akihato versus Aqua.
Oh yeah, like they could have a lot of fun with that.
And either way, it's going to be brutal because, again, good housekeeping means it's a hardcore match. So they're just going to be bludgeoning each other with stuff. So,
Fighting in the ring, outside the ring, because it's no count out. So they can fight outside the ring all they want. The match has to, would it be a false count anywhere, or would the match have to finish between the ropes?
I feel like for the sake of the audience, have it finish inside the ring.
Okay.
But obviously the action goes outside.
I was going to say, let this go out into just, we book an actual apartment. This match does not happen in the arena.
A cinematic match.
In a house. This is a remote match. It's being broadcast live. It isn't pre-recorded, so shenanigans can still happen. But
yeah,
that this is happening in, some apartment that we've booked and, gotten good insurance on and just stocked full of good things for them to hit each other with.
This is actually totally doable because recently on AEW, they did a match at a dentist's office because they have an actual dentist as their women's champion. Like, that's her day job. She is a dentist, and she worked it into her gimmick, Britt Baker, DMD.
I love it.
So instead of it, being like you said, it could be on location in a nice apartment, which, oh God, that's going to be so painful to watch with all the destruction, because it's like, oh, that's such a nice apartment. Oh God, they're destroying it. Oh God, why? By God, the carnage.
The flip side of that coin, remember Booker T versus Stone Cold in the supermarket?
Also, yes, that is another classic one. So there was a match
that wasn't even a match. That was just a fight.
It wasn't even a fight. It was just like slapstick humor between two professional wrestlers, and it was amazing.
Exactly what I want here. I want slapstick.
Okay, so the total we're going for is Booker T versus Stone Cold in the supermarket.
Yes.
Got
milk.
Exactly what I want.
That's the best bet.
That's how you get Aqua involved in a match and have it be a good match.
Got a price check on a jackass.
Oh, so good. It's such a good match. And Booker T just has the best expressions, and that's what really sells it. Like, he's so good at comedy wrestling.
Here's the thing, Akihato and Hachima both have classic expressions. Disturbing as heck expressions, but classic expressions. And to be fair, Aqua is no slouch either in the facial expression department. That she is adorable and funny and cutesy. She'll do real well.
Excellent.
I just added that note that this is a remote location match.
I thought of the last match, or at least who's going to win, and then I sort of reverse engineered this one. Because we established a while ago that we want a particular entrance to open up Mania.
Oh!
And if we're going to have this entrance, we need her to win here to have something to do to warrant this extremely grandiose entrance that we have planned. We can't just have it out of the blue. People need to be expecting her. So the question is, who is fighting Hosho Marine? And I think the answer is, do we just have a Yabe match and pit her against Matsuri? So, for reference, obviously, Hosho Marine, the pirate whose tagline is literally, I'm horny. We then pair her with the person who, prior to Coco, established what is called, or was called, the Matsuri line. And how far can you push this? And, you know, in terms of things being a little bit inappropriate or past the normal sensibilities for a Hololive streamer, that if Matsuri can get away with it, you can get away with it. And that's sort of where people knew, okay, how far can you go? And we then wait for Matsuri to push the line even farther. When Coco came in, she blew past the Matsuri line in her first week, and it was never called the Coco line after that, but Coco then sort of assumed that role of she is the outer limit of what type of BS can be done. The only other person who ever really challenged that for her would have been Hachima, who is already preoccupied. So I see Matsuri versus Marine here, and I don't know how the major parts of the match goes. But Mario, you've seen Marine's model, correct?
Oh yes, and that's why I'm like, cue the Vince. I mean, I already cued
Here's
Vince plenty, but yeah.
The way this ends, I'm just going to say it this way. I'm not actually going to say anything past it, but it has to be a Keijo ending.
Yes, good. Let's check on the Vinceometer.
I almost feel like it's unfair to Matsuri to do this to her, because I don't want this one to be a drubbing, but Matsuri is much bigger in, well, every way.
Yes.
But if anything, that's what also sort of makes it its own type of grudge match, I suppose.
Yep.
All right, so explain to me what kind of ending you're going for here, because I'm not understanding.
So Keijo, my dear friend Taylor, is a manga and an anime where combatants fight using their breasts and butts.
But especially butts. Like, it's basically butt combat, the anime.
it is breast and butt combat, the anime.
Yep.
So we're going all the way back to the Attitude Era with this one. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, this is the Yabe match. The Yabe, the Yabai, this is the Yab match. So we're gonna lean into it here.
Yep. It's gonna be an asset whooping.
The thing is, like I said, we know that we have a plan for Marine.
We sure
I'm not
do.
gonna spoil it here, but the inception for this plan came up a while ago, and it's so good. So we need to make sure it happens. That means that Marine has to fight in this last match, because we know she's not winning the Fatal 4-Way. So reverse engineering from there. If you all have another idea of who to pit Marine against, I'm all ears. But that was where my sort of instinctual inclination went.
I'm just trying to think how we can lean into the, how shall we put this delicately, big versus small element in the title.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing that's bugging me. I'm like,
and
how do we
the
mess
only
with
other
this?
option I could see is we swap out Matsuri for someone who makes it a more just a more proper Keijo match, where we have some other talent with comparable assets.
Oh no, I like this big versus small thing. I'm just trying to think how we can roll with it, especially if Matsuri, if I understood your breakdown correctly, is basically like one of the only other really I guess you could say aggressively foul in terms of content.
And fair,
Hololive
isn't
talents.
as aggressively foul nowadays. She actually had a really great interview on Kiara's talk show, Holo Talk.
Oh.
And she talked about how she did those things back in the day because Hololive was much smaller. And she was like, I needed to stand out. We needed to stand out. And even if it was because we were doing things that were a bit risque, at that point, any publicity felt like good publicity. So I pushed the envelope for myself and for Hololive because I wanted us to get in the public eye more. So actually, you find out now that Matsuri did all this for the greater good, and that she was like super pure of heart in all of this. And she was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing is a bit out there, but
so what you're saying is
in this environment, I think it's what I need to do. And I think that's super cool.
So what you're saying
And
is
she
we went from
actually has
this.
toned it down since the early days, that she's notorious from the early days, but nowadays she is much more of a, like, almost a fun tomboyish older sister type of thing. And she can certainly get back to her level of old antics, but it is not nearly the frequency that she had back 2 years ago.
So she definitely went from that
Yeah.
to that.
Precisely.
So what you're telling me is Matsuri is the John Cena of Hololive.
Oh my god.
She kind of is.
And the thing is that to this day, Matsuri remains one of the most, like, notorious talents. That she is up there in, like, if she's not top 10, if she's not top 5, she's top 10 in terms of, like, subscriber count. She's very high up there. She was one of the first to hit 1 million.
Also loyalty kawaii.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we figured that one out.
All the more reason I feel bad to make her lose, but we have plans for Marine.
We'll find a way to make good on that because God,
Maybe
now that we've
next
made this
season.
association, we got to keep that in our back pocket for Mania because
Yeah.
God.
Oh yeah. There is
I've got-
potential here.
I'm already brewing ideas for next season, but
Good.
we won't get ahead of ourselves.
Oh man.
All right. So, and any ideas for, well, like I said, it's a Keijo ending. Do you have anything that you would want to throw in there between the opening and closing of that match?
Do we? I figure as far as like the actual ending goes, the way that we justify Marine winning this one with her being the smaller of the two, Mario.
No,
you
she's the larger of the two.
Or Marine is.
Marine is winning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
okay.
she's going over. But I'm sorry, you're gonna say Taylor?
Okay.
You know
Oh
what
no,
Marine
I
looks like.
misunderstood. I misunderstood earlier. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Scrap what I was about to say then, because it doesn't work now.
Oh, okay.
But no, I think I say we just let them come in and do their thing. Honestly,
Yeah, and the thing is, I expect Matsuri to be scrappy. I don't think that this is going to be a total one-sided match. That she is smaller than Marine, like I said, in every way, but she can also, she'll be much faster, much nimbler, and she is not going to take anything just totally sitting down. She will put up a good fight.
Okay, hear
what
me
if
out.
we?
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
What if we went full Keijo? Because hear me out. Hear me out. Walk the plank match. They fight on a plank, suspended over a pool of water. Now, in the Attitude Era, this would basically be an excuse for, people to tear clothes off and, pop the horny teenagers. But in this case, because we're trying to be semi-classy about this, the idea being, the first one to get dunked loses. So if we want to go even further back with our references, like the joust in American Gladiators, except
So you're doing literal butt jousting.
it doesn't have to be that per se, but just the idea of the walk the plank match, how they fight each other, we leave up to interpretation, but it probably ends up with the Keijo ending just for the haha. Did you see what we did there?
And even if it's not the entire match being that's how
Exactly.
That's Marine's ingenious way of, okay, how can I get the upper hand here when
Well, it's definitely up or something.
I'm
I'm so sorry, everybody. It's just we are setting this
I'm
up to
not.
be a lewd match. It's like, how do we take the high ground while also going for the low-hanging fruit? So yeah, the walk the plank match. There we go. So walk the plank match. We should probably put that into the notes just so we
I
can
will.
recall that. And yeah, so
All
walk
right.
the plank, and the
Cool.
modifier is they are fighting on a plank suspended over water.
All right,
so,
Taylor, it's
yeah.
your time. It is the I Quit match.
Oh,
What do you have for us?
Here we go.
Calliope Mori versus Takanashi Kiara in an I Quit match. As we mentioned earlier, this is happening. It all started with the controversial ending to the tag team title match at the Hololive Rumble, where Callie's manager, J-Chad, got involved in the match and attacked Lammy, who was on the apron with a glass bottle, knocking her out, making it impossible for Botan to then tag in, causing them to lose the titles. Kiara and Callie are now your new tag team champions.
Shortly after.
Sorry, I was taking a breath. Shortly after, they learn exactly what happened and are now split on how to proceed. Kiara, in good faith, wants them to vacate the titles, as in her eyes they did not win them legitimately. Callie wants to retain the titles, just hold on to them because they are the champions. It's official. It can't be reversed. What's the harm? They're the champions. They should relish in it. Kiara goes behind Callie's back and relinquishes her half of the titles just because she feels it's the right thing to do. In doing so, this now forces, management now forces Callie to relinquish her half because Callie on her own cannot hold both tag team titles. So, and the tension continues to build between Callie and Kiara in the weeks between the Rumble and HoloNo Mercy. The titles are relinquished between these two pay-per-views, and now with the tensions running high, everyone pointing fingers, it has all come to a head here in an I Quit match of Callie versus Kiara. Joel, are you familiar with what an I Quit match is?
I am not. Please educate me.
In an I Quit match, there are no countouts, there are no disqualifications, there are no pinfalls, and there are no submissions. There is no tapping out. The only way to win is to get your opponent to say the words, I quit.
Ooh.
And there is a referee with a microphone handy so the entire arena can hear it once these words are spoken. And now, keeping in mind, they're not saying I quit as in I quit HoloLive. They're saying I quit the match. Yes. They're just like that is just ending the match.
Yeah. But it's still a very visceral thing here.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And considering who it is that is involved in this match and the reasons
Callie
behind
and Kiara
it
are both extremely prideful.
Very much so. So there is egos are running high, tensions are running high going into this thing. At the start of the match, it's fairly even. They go back and forth. Neither one can really seem to gain the upper hand on the other. Slowly but surely, more underhanded methods are starting to be used. Methods that are like moves and methods that would normally be illegal and force a disqualification ending. No DQ in this match. It's all legal. And this continues to escalate. And eventually, Kiara starts to get the upper hand on Callie. Starts literally and figuratively starts getting Callie up against the ropes. Looks like she's getting the point.
An idea for a potential end. I want to hear yours.
Okay.
But afterwards, I've got something occurred to me as well. So you go with yours.
And I think everyone should like this ending. But let's not get ahead of myself. She keeps asking, actually now almost begging Callie to say the words, I quit, to end the match. Callie refuses. Kiara gets distracted or makes one little slip up that allows Callie to then gain the upper hand in the match. And Callie, as appropriate to the title of this pay-per-view, is merciless. She just, it's painful to watch. Lays into Kiara, unleashes everything she's got, breaks it, even breaks out the kendo stick towards the end of this thing. Finally gets to the point where now Callie is screaming at Kiara to say the words, I quit. Kiara refuses. The ending moments of the match, Callie basically ties up Kiara in the ropes and looks like getting ready to deal what would be like the final blow. Raises the kendo stick and then stops. a sort of look of realization comes across her face, that the anger and the rage just all kind of fades away as Callie sort of almost snaps out of her rage and her trance and just now has that look of on her face of, what am I doing? Why are we doing this? Drops the kendo stick, basically collapses down to her knees, realizing what it is that she's doing to her friend, to the oldest friend that she has had. They've known each other since the beginning of time itself.
Yeah, so the canonical story for Takamori, for Callie and Kiara, is that Kiara is an immortal phoenix, and every time she comes back to life, she keeps falling in love with Callie, and Callie is the Grim Reaper's apprentice and is therefore as old as time itself. So the two have only each other as a constant in one's endless recurring life and one's simply endless life.
So now
I like that.
Callie realizes what it is that she's doing. The referee, not sure exactly what's going on, goes over to check on Callie. Callie just kind of grabs the microphone out of his hand and starts basically pouring her heart out to Kiara, apologizing to her. It's like, I'm sorry I let my pride and my ego make me lose sight of what was truly important. I'm sorry I valued the titles more than our friendship. I got us in this mess, but I'm going to make it right. Callie then stands up, looks the referee dead in the eye, raises the microphone, and says the words, "I quit."
Okay.
The referee rings the bell and the match ends.
I like your ending. You're not going hard enough on the journey there. Here's what I see. You're talking a kendo stick. Taylor, my friend. We're talking about the Grim Reaper's apprentice and a phoenix. We need to use them. This is what happens. I like your first and second act of starting off even, slowly devolving into more underhanded tactics. But where I differ and where I'm going to push the envelope here is our climax. Because this is what happens. So, Kiara has Callie on the ropes, and just momentary distraction, no mercy. Callie does the reversal, has Kiara tied up in the ropes. She says, "Say it." Kiara says no. Callie swings her scythe and reaps Kiara. Kiara regenerates. "Say it. No. Reap. Say it.
Oh my God.
No. Reap." And it is somewhere around the third to fifth time when she's going to swing the scythe at Kiara to make her regenerate again. And because every time Reap goes up in flames, it takes her a moment to regenerate. And she's getting physically weaker with each regeneration. It's not, 100% energy retention. But it's say it, no, reap. Say it, no, reap. And somewhere in there that she finally just has that epiphany moment that you outline, that Ricky, her scythe, clatters to the ground, and she does the ending that you have of, taking the mic, apologizing, saying, "I quit," and that the ending is there, but we make the journey 10 times more intense. No kendo stick. We have a scythe.
By God, that literally killed her.
My God, that literally killed her at least 3 times.
By God, they killed her again. She killed her again. Oh no, this is. Wow.
The post-match aftermath of this, the immediate aftermath, they're leaving the ring, Callie is literally almost carrying Kiara out of the ring down to the ramp. J-Chad is there at ringside, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, you were winning. You were about to win. What are you doing? Callie doesn't say anything. But instead, she shoots a glare at J-Chad that J-Chad knows very well. And that tells her, without any verbal word spoken, she's a dead woman walking. And then Callie just carries Kiara back up the ramp and behind the curtain. And then what we have agreed with this afterwards, we'll say that this happens on the regular weekly show after the pay-per-view. We see this little backstage segment of Callie and Kiara, who is now rested and is on the road to recovery.
Yay!
Confronting J-Chad and basically telling her, well, Callie tells J-Chad, I had half a mind to fire you over all of this. But Kiara has actually suggested a much better alternative that will benefit all parties involved. You, because you get to keep your job, congratulations. And us, because it incentivizes you to become a much better manager. And that arrangement being, J-Chad's soul now belongs to Callie for all of eternity, and if J-Chad steps out of line again, even a single toe, it's the usual room for her.
Anyone who is employed by Kiara at KFP, Kiara Fried Phoenix, knows very well what the usual room is. It is not a good place.
And this basically leads J-Chad out of...
This keeps J-Chad quite on the straight and narrow. J-Chad nods very nervously, sweat dripping down her face, and like, okay, I understand. Yep. But this then sets up as we have what was already going to be the title match of the 2v2. We now have Kiara and Callie being reinserted as just, well, management sees this and they're like, oh, well, we can't just take this lying down. It's too good. It's too dang good after what we saw. So now it becomes what we have slated as the 2v2v2 ladder match.
Becomes a triple threat ladder match. And that's actually the first thing that that Callie and Kiara have J-Chad do is go behind the curtain and pull the strings to get them in that match.
To make this match happen.
Yeah.
And Mario's just been kind of quiet throughout all this while we've been jamming, but I take it from the GIFs I've been seeing him play that he likes it.
Yes, and, because it is that. It is that.
That is my booking with the addition from Joel there at the very end of the Callie versus Kiara I Quit match.
I'm not gonna lie, like just envisioning.
Good, RJ. Good. I hope it does.
Just like envisioning this sequence of events, and especially with how it would resolve itself. Like I was legitimately tearing up there for a moment because I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like imagining how it would play out for a live audience, and with the twist of the person who is very clearly dominating in the match being the one to declare that they quit. Chef's kiss. That's a good touch.
That was real good.
That was the only way that match would end and everyone go home happy.
Yeah.
What I was initially thinking of, that we run the say go home reap and then eventually Kiara gives in, but as soon as she does, Callie collapses and is sobbing just hysterically, and lights go down, that's that. But I like your having it be Callie be the one to just have the epiphany moment and say, no, I quit. I like that a lot better.
Yeah, it's very humanizing, and also it kind of gives them a nice face turn after the debacle of the previous month. So like this is definitely face turn material, considering the circumstances, and just you never see that in pro wrestling. Like I can't think of an I Quit match where it had that kind of a resolution. And if I'm certain there have been plenty of I Quit matches done in the history of pro wrestling that have had that ending, but nothing, of this scale, of this scope, and with literal murder.
Yeah.
My God, they literally killed her.
Being Taylor, kendo stick? Why do you keep talking about a kendo stick? We have a flippin' scythe.
They can literally die and come back and not leave a mess for the poor ring crew.
I'll admit that part kind of did slip my mind a little bit. The fact that they're eternal beings.
I mean, to be fair, like everything else was just so on the money.
Real good.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And now,
like the original ending that I had initially when I was first piecing this match together was to make it a submission match, where the only way to win is to get your opponent to tap out, with Kiara winning by getting Callie to tap out to her patented move, the Phoenix Lock. But I decided, nah, you know what? That's not nearly pain pecco enough. We need to go hard on this one.
Yeah, this was definitely the right choice for the emotional content of the match. So yeah, taking it up a notch to an I Quit, because I'll be honest, like these days, whenever I see that an I Quit stipulation is going to be deployed, I'm always a little skeptical, because I'm like, oh boy, how are they gonna whiff this one? Because the whole match could be just a banger, but then it just ends on a wet fart. This was exactly the kind of emotional payoff that you want from an I Quit match. So this was such a good choice. Such a good choice.
Yeah. I even hurt myself a little bit in this one, like when it hit me, like halfway through you saying what your idea was, and like I didn't want to completely upstage you, but I was like, I need to say that I have this idea now so I don't forget it, because I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
This ending is good, but it could be better.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Pedro Pascal.
Indeed.
And now, the main event.
So yeah, this is our big fatal four-way with the winner going to Holomania next month. Again, we
Jesus,
have
like the crowd right now is emotionally exhausted. We need this to be epic.
Or at very least, like start with enough pacing so that the audience can get their collective breath back. Because man, the way that this I Quit match just ended, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe we should have switched this.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't want to go on after that. That was
That's the challenge then.
Yes.
Is how the hell do you top that? That is your job as the main event.
Well, first we got Coco.
Well, here's the
so
thing,
that's
like,
a nice handicap going in.
That's the mentality of basically any pay-per-view, especially at WrestleMania for WWE, is your job as a performer is to outperform the match immediately before you. That is your job.
So my only stipulation here, apart from what we have already established, is that Kanata is not in this match.
Okay.
I want Kanata in the match immediately preceding the title match at Mania, and I want Kanata to win her match at Mania.
Ooh, okay.
So,
all right.
Mario, just as a reminder for you and for anyone who might not be super well versed in Hololive lore, Coco and Kanata are attached at the hip, not even romantically so. They literally are roommates, IRL. The two of them and Toa have a shared place that is colloquially known as Hollow House, that it's, not a big thing, but the two of them are actual roommates. They are each other's IRL emotional rocks, especially through the past year and the past month in particular. We had Coco and Kanata fighting in the Rumble, and that was good. That was big. That was hype.
Yes.
I don't want them fighting again here in Coco's last chance, and Kanata needs to be on hand as Coco's Rock at the end of Mania.
Ooh.
And
there is precedent for that.
And we need her to be in, good triumphant spirits, and sort of like the one of, I'm going to continue on for you type of thing at the end. So Kanata does not fight tonight. She fights next time.
Yes. Yes, I like this because, like I was just saying, there is precedent for that kind of thing happening. One of the legitimate greatest WrestleMania moments of all time, which for various obvious reasons doesn't really get celebrated as much anymore, was at WrestleMania 20. Basically, you had two legitimate best friends who were constantly kept away from the main event scene because they were wrestlers of smaller stature, both winning their championship matches. And, the one who was winning a belt that he had never gotten a chance to compete for in the company they originally came from, that that WWE by that point had inherited the belt from, winning his first world title, then having his friend, who was also a world champion at the same time, because they had two separate world championships, hugging it out in the middle of the ring. It was one of the best WrestleMania moments ever. So there is a precedent for that kind of thing, even if we're going in a slightly different direction. But that idea of, having the two best friends hugging it out as like this emotional climax to the WrestleMania show, that's real good.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, we have more. It's going to be more than just Kanata. But Kanata is, she has been and always will be Coco's BFF.
Exactly.
Like, we make jokes of, ships and pairings. People, they've gotten IRL friendship rings. They don't seem, the community is like, these two are too dang pure, despite the fact that Coco is impure in every way, shape, and form. But like, that these two are actual legitimate friends, not even talking shipping at all. There are others that will be there with Coco at the end that we have planned, but she's going to have her friend group, but also her BFF in Kanata.
Yes, absolutely yes. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense for why she can't be in this Fatal 4-Way. That makes complete sense. Follow-up question then. Is she at least in the audience watching on, or is she going to accompany Coco to the ring and then just ollie out?
Yeah, she'd be at ringside.
Yeah.
Okay.
She would absolutely be there. But the question we have to really address is, who are our other three combatants? And this needs to be the highest of octanes. I will offer one name as my suggestion. And I feel like each of us could probably pick a contender to put in that we want, and there we go. And that's a night. The one that I would say I want to see in here is Botan.
Damn it, that was my pick.
Hey, great minds think alike. Good taste.
Yeah, but now I got to think of another one.
So Botan, as a reminder, is the lioness, the gun enthusiast, and FPS specialist of Hololive.
Yes, the
Also,
apex predator. Yes.
Apex predator. Indeed.
Actually, I was. This was another one I was talking to RJ with about entrance themes.
Yep.
What? Just because there is a certain sound effect in this person's theme song that fits very well with her being a lion. Mario, what would you think about giving her Samoa Joe's theme?
Oh.
And it has that very the beat too just has that very jungly feel. I will link it in. I'll link it in the group chat for you here in a second, Joel. Give me a sec.
I can already hear the crowd now. Botan's gonna kill you. Yeah. Botan's gonna kill you.
Botan's gonna kill you.
For Joel, the context.
By the way, RJ gave one of the just like most visceral things of Callie and Kiara. Mario, are you familiar with The Way Out?
Yeah, I saw that just now, and I'm like, oh no, you want to talk about horrible betrayals? That is.
Kiara played.
Oh God.
They played it with no information going in. They played it
knowing
what they were in for. They didn't know the ending.
Oh no!
Kiara was actually crying at the end.
I believe it, because oh God,
this was just, chat was going wild trying to console the two of them because, like, even Callie got hit by it, and she's, not stoic, I suppose isn't the right term, but just, she's the one that's not usually going to get choked up by a story, but she got a little bit swept up, and the fact that Kiara was just, on the verge of bawling at the end, and she's basically comforting Kiara, being like, it's okay, and just, it was a actually legitimately emotional one, so very good clip selection, RJ. Very good clip selection.
Thanks, RJ.
Thanks for hurting us.
Well, to be fair, we hurt everybody and ourselves first, so we brought this on ourselves. But yeah, no.
Also, I'm listening to Samoa Joe's theme right now. Ooh,
yeah,
powerful opening.
Yeah. To be fair, Joe is very powerful. Joe is in fact going to kill you. And possibly wear a poncho if it's pouring outside and he has to give a segment in the middle. Yeah, for the record, that was a thing that legitimately happened at this year's WrestleMania because of the storms that they were having in Florida right at the time that they were starting the show. So there's this segment of Samoa Joe, who was at the time doing just commentary, wearing a poncho in the middle of this rainstorm, just filling time with Michael Cole.
I'm imagining the clip from Family Guy. It's raining sideways.
Luckily, it wasn't that bad, but still, it's just one of these really weird moments. And then he got fired like a week later. Now he's back because they realized how stupid it was to let him go. But that's a rant for another time. Point is, Samoa Joe wore a poncho for our amusement. I'll see if I can find some images while we continue to figure this out. So, okay, we've got two of our Fatal Four.
So we've got that. Mario, Taylor, do you two have any other ideas?
Well, I'm going to have to look now, considering you stole mine.
Now, I suppose, do we want all four to be traditional power styles, or like maybe we throw in at least one maybe supernatural curveball in here? Who knows?
Well, if we're going to go with the supernatural curveball, and if we want to have a little bit more Ian representation, I was going to suggest Ina.
That's actually where I was looking as well, potentially. And the thing is, she also has a more traditional power in just, the tentacles. Those are very large tentacles. So I'm good with Ina. Mario, what do you think of that addition there?
That makes sense. I mean, we got to go big. This is, again, look at what they're following up and what we've already established. We need to go big to go home, because this is the go home match of the night.
It's the go home show for Mania, basically.
Also, it really is. Like, ignoring the weekly TV, it's like this really is the go home show.
Which we are not actively booking. Yeah.
Lol. Nope.
As far as this on-stream series is concerned, this is our go-home show for Mania.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the ones I wanted to avoid is I don't want it to be too much of a to have anything repeating of the final 5 from Rumble, and so far we've avoided that because the final 5 in Rumble were Ayame, Hachima, Gura, Kanata, and Coco and Robico. So Hachima's already accounted for. Coco obviously is, Robico is, so we're saying that Ayame and Gura cannot be in this Fatal 4-Way, just to avoid that being a bit too close to what we had in Rumble.
Okay.
So our last combatant, if we wanted to do something really weird, we could throw in Polka. If we wanted to have someone who's a bit more traditional power to round it out, we could go with maybe Choco would be an interesting one.
I thought about Choco, actually.
Could also do Azuki. Azuki could actually be very interesting. We also could potentially have a tie in there because Azuki, for all intents and purposes, is the other V singer, and since, we're hyping up Iris as, the big new one, and she had her show of having Azuki on the card could be interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a need to have, but that's one other layer that you could have for the tie-in.
while you're ruminating on that, over in our Discord, I have just thrown in a reference to what we were talking about just a moment ago.
Oh my god, he looks miserable. He's just like, why am I here?
But actually... And just a casual reminder for those of you who are watching live, I have just thrown a link to our Discord channel. You can swing on by to join the discussion and check out some of these lovely, lovely memes that we have been sharing in the live broadcast. And, you know, we have
And if you
obviously...
want to learn more about Hololive, you'll see RJ, Taylor, and I just, bleep posting in the DTuber Central channel on a very regular basis.
And I was just about to say, obviously, if you are a Hololive or just VTuber enthusiast in general, we do have our DTuber Central.
We also have the wrestling channel as well. So
Sure do. Oh, we have a stretch redemption. So let us get in
stretching.
our stretch.
Fair enough.
past the
that
seventh
feels
inning,
good.
but oh well. Thank you for the stretch redeem, whoever redeemed it.
I need to pop my
stretch.
knees back into alignment anyway, so thank you.
There we go.
Hey, chronic pain.
Well, actually, this is the 7th match, so I guess it is appropriate that we are doing our stretch
Okay,
here.
there we go. Yeah.
Honestly,
How
when
good
I
is this
think about it-
pay-per-view? So good that we didn't have the obligatory bathroom break. We had the 7th match stretch while we were waiting for everybody to hit the ring.
A couple other concepts. We could have Watame come in as, the cute, surprisingly powerful powerhouse of just, leaning more into ram than sheep there. You could have Toa being devilish. Nene being a bear and just... She goes, gow, gow, and it actually somehow is super powerful, which catches everyone off guard.
I feel like we need to pay off the such good sheep. We got to pay that off.
Oh, okay. So we're just gonna have the good sheep. We're gonna have Watame in here, and that is Mario's request for the addition that we put in Watame and have her doing through the match.
It's such good sheep.
There we go. Problem solved.
And I could actually see Watame actually delivering some serious offense in that match too.
Yep, that just, hey, she absorbs some of the blows with her puffy wool, but also, she has the ram horns and the Gangemari, crazy face. She can dish out the hurt, I'm quite confident.
Ooh, diving headbutts.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Diving headbutts all around. There we go. Actually, that would make for some good near falls too, because people would probably read that as, oh no.
Thank you, RJ. That was fast. Jeez. Mario, can you just download that and throw that into OBS real quick?
Oh, let me head on over to the Discord. What do we?
No,
what do we
it's in the HCW chat.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in the group chat.
Oh, wow. Okay, yes. Give me one moment. We will be adding this to our display.
Like I said, that was real fast.
Whew.
I got the feeling that RJ was just sitting there with the screen, typing these in, waiting all night for this moment.
So we are legitimately doing this like a live wrestling show. We got our live graphics coming on up.
Screw it, we'll do it.
Oh boy, give me a moment.
And you're right, LOL.
Oh boy. Yep.
The final match, the Fatal 4-Way.
But actually, okay, harp.
Tsunomaki Watame versus Niomae Inani versus Shishiro Botan
Botan's gonna kill you. Botan's gonna kill you.
But actually,
versus Kiryu Koko. So We know how it ends. How do we get there? Oop, that is B.
I'm working on it.
That is very B.
I'm working on it. We're booking this
Ian
live.
strikes again.
Uh,
But actually, we are not like with the final match. I was going to see if we could possibly work this in somewhere else, but the opportunity never came up. So I'm going to go ahead and rule it out now. For the final match, Coco is not winning this match with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. That's not happening.
No.
you mean a roll up?
The surprise roll up. Yeah.
Oh God, no.
I was talking dragon form, but
No, I was referring to the running joke of the surprise roll up being the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, because apparently when you're hit by it, you're suddenly too stupid to kick out of it.
oh my God.
And just there have been too many matches won by surprise roll up in WWE. It's become a running gag.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. it's the actual worst thing in wrestling. If it's deployed well, it can be very entertaining, but usually it's just kind of garbo.
Yeah. Yeah, if it makes sense from a storyline standpoint, then go for it. But don't just do it every other match just to do it. It's
There's
a reason Simon Miller doesn't have any hair left.
Cry. Poor Simon Miller. Doop.
Like, he's even got the Holomania. I think we need to get some color in that Holomania logo, RJ, just to make it so you can see it, because the light blue against the white has it so it's not very readable. But I love the placement there. Just
that's also
Holomania. It's real good.
We'll fix it in post.
not a screenshot. So
we'll fix it in post for the YouTube edition.
Yep.
Casually waves at Neo Ivan of Neo Ivan Gaming.
Also just like he even made the HoloNo Mercy logo. It's so good.
Yes, good. So there we go. We have our stand-in while we sort out this finale. Again, we'll fix it in post.
Yes.
I'm looking.
So is it?
I'm trying to
in
think.
A fatal four-way. Remind me, do people get eliminated, or is there a victory condition?
It is the first in a fatal four-way. It's everyone for themselves, and it is the first contender to gain a pinfall or submission.
Okay, so
which makes it interesting. Which this is not a championship match, but it makes it interesting in a championship match because in this type of matchup, the champion does not have to be involved in the decision to lose their title. They don't have to be the one to get pinned to lose the championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's whoever is first to gain a pinfall or submission.
Yeah. And in this case, because there's no actual title belt on the line, that particular stake is taken away. But it's still going to be, a bit of a nail biter, because if it was elimination, you could drag it out and you can, have your false flags. But here it's just like, oh, no. This is a one-way ticket to Holomania. And if you screw this up, that's it. You don't get any second chances. This is your final chance.
Yeah. So Ina's strategy would probably just be she's near the corner of the ring and she's deploying her tentacles and trying. She has a tentacle on each of her opponents, trying to just pin anyone she can. Because by all rights, on paper, she has the greatest advantage in this match.
That does make sense, actually. Let's see here. Sorry, I was checking a work email. Brush me up again on what just happened.
Ina, on paper, has the biggest advantage in this match because she has her multiple tentacles. That her MO here is going to be stick to the corner, and basically she sends a tentacle after each of her opponents. But obviously she's not going to get the victory, but I feel like that's her sort of role here, that she herself is barely participating. It's everyone against her tentacles. Okay. And then they're also against each other. So at the same time, Ina is fighting everyone and no one.
Yeah. Which, again, makes a ton of sense given the scenario here.
Okay.
The question that we need to reverse engineer is who is Coco pinning?
Ooh.
Is it Ina, is it Botan, or is it Watame? And just sort of how do we get there? My guess is that she probably wouldn't go for Ina, that she would evade the tentacles but set her sights on Botan or Watame. Because she doesn't want to get the attention of all the tentacles if she becomes an immediate threat to Ina.
Let me ask this. Is there anyone that we're trying to protect going into Mania? As in, we're still trying to... They're not winning the match, but we still want to make them look strong going into Mania.
I don't know that.
Or are any of the other three even going to Mania?
Possibly. The thing is, Botan is a very good draw, very powerful combatant. She, as a reminder for what we had for each of these in the previous one, Ina was in the Rumble. She eliminated Anya. I thought she eliminated at least one other. Maybe she didn't. But Ina was pretty good there. Botan was in the tag team match against Callie and Kiara because it was her and Lammy. So she's already had a loss, and it was a bit of a dirty one at that. And then Watame was in... Oh, Watame was the first elimination of the Rumble. She was taken out by the Okakoro tag team. I remember that. Yep.
Oh wow! So we have the first and the last in this Fatal 4. I like that. I know it wasn't intentional, but that's good narrative. We can work with that somehow.
Yeah, and the thing is, I guess after her getting eliminated so quickly, I don't want her being the one eliminated here. That feels like doing Watame dirty. That we love this sheep. She is good sheep. So even if she's not winning, we don't have her being the one taken out. So Botan is the one that gets pinned.
Okay. And I think it's possible to... I think we can do that and still make both... and still make Botan look strong. Because it's like...
Yeah. And that we make it a good grapple, I think. That it could have gone either way. But... Coco used the leverage of her tail to get that, the literal leverage on Botan.
Oh, okay. So, possible setup scenario for how we arrive at this pinfall victory for Coco. Some sort of sequence of events leads to effectively everyone taking finishers from everybody else. Botan getting the worst of it, possibly getting just basically triple teamed. Like everybody just hits Botan with the finisher because they're like, okay, we need to put down Botan for good. The last one to kind of go for it will be Watame with that diving headbutt. If we even book it right, we can have Watame, just do 3 diving headbutts, on everybody. The last one being Botan, and she's just exhausted by that third one, and is just kind of dazed. She goes up, she lands it. You think it's going to be the 1, 2, 3. Coco breaks it up, and from there, that's what we can figure out. Like after that, very dramatic near finish. Like you think Watame has got this. Like Watame has just like everyone dead to rights. She got this last one with her last ounce of strength. But it was all for nothing because Coco still has just enough left in the tank. And I feel like the tail needs to come into play somehow with that. But that's the scenario that I want to propose, at least, for getting us to this pinfall over Botan. Because again,
by the way, RJ just threw up an updated image in our group chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Real clean.
Let's wow. You would think that we were working with a legitimate production truck here. Good work, pal. We're gonna go out for meat wraps.
Mario, you are the truck.
I am in D truck.
Remember?
Let me just pull up the highlights.
I went with the truck. The truck is with me.
I do like that because it really lets Watame look like a badass. It gives her some good moments, even if she doesn't win, but it lets her get her pride back from being the first one out at Rumble.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. It makes her look strong, even though she doesn't win the match. And by not having her be the one pinned, it still protects her image by not
Exactly.
making her look weak.
Because there will be a small faction of her diehard fans who are like, Watame deserved to win it. Coco only was able to actually get the pin on Botan because Watame weakened her first. So,
Oh yeah,
there's
that also does set up a good grudge match.
Well, we can't have Coco fighting Watame if that's what you mean, or do you mean Botan versus Watame potentially?
Exactly. Botan versus Watame.
of like Watame wanting to prove that she can beat Botan 1-on-1.
Yeah, it's just like there was no way you're gonna beat me because you had all that help and then you did your thing and I was tired and meh.
I could see her doing that, or just being in the crowd and eating potato chips. That's the other thing. Watame is a notorious potato chip fiend. She will take a potato chip and eat it.
So this
She also has
could go one of two ways.
sunglasses.
This could either be like a straight up grudge match over, who could beat who in a one-on-one confrontation. Because if you think about it, technically speaking,
Yes,
all their
RJ,
losses,
yes, he did.
all their losses up to now have been in essentially group environments. They have not been in proper one-on-one confrontations. So that definitely gives some precedent for this to be like a 1v1 match at Mania. Alternately, we did make reference to the other Vince, specifically Vince Russo. Potato chips on a pole.
Pardon me?
And I think I killed Taylor.
I just have one thing to say about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm lost. Please help.
No pole matches. No. None.
Okay, so
Zero.
for Joel's benefit, so one of the more famous / infamous, depending on what school of thought you approach this from, bookers and writers from the Attitude Era of WWE who eventually jumped ship to WCW, and that's a whole other thing. Vince Russo. He was basically responsible for what we consider to be the car crash TV that made the Attitude Era so popular during what was essentially peak car crash TV times, with your Jerry Springers and all that stuff. No, like, Jerry Springer and all these other trashy reality shows and, a lot of that.
I've never heard it referred to as car crash before.
So taking that whole aesthetic and bringing it into pro wrestling and making it the compelling viewing that it turned into. So one of his infamous trademarks was insert object here on a pole match. So all sorts of weird inanimate objects would be placed on the pole. The idea being, you either grab the item, you win the match, or in many cases you would use that item to, inflict legalized pain on your opponent. So, for example, kendo stick on a pole match. Okay, if you grab it, you can use it. Normally, it would be a disqualification. But it got really absurd to the point where we had Viagra on a pole and another wrestler's mother on a pole. It was actually a forklift, but it was billed as on a pole. And that is why Taylor had the visceral reaction that she did.
I'm so confused. How do you use these various things and, actual sentient being?
And
Yes.
don't forget.
That's the answer,
don't forget
yes.
don't forget the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, the adoption papers on a pole match for Rey Mysterio's real life son.
I thought that was a straight up ladder match, but okay, yes.
No. It was on a pole.
Okay, but yeah, you see how ludicrous this got. So that's why it's like when you mention
for
on a
the
pole.
one of, like, the Viagra match, was it the first to grab it, or did they need to use it, or what? I'm confused.
The crux of that particular feud was that one wrestler was implying that the other was impotent. It was just them being a jerk, essentially.
And the victory condition was you have to grab the Viagra?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, that is also correct. that
There's
exact
a reason
response.
that Vince Russo is as
He's
looked upon as downly as he is.
Yeah, he is a
these
very,
days.
very polarizing figure. It's like,
Polarizing?
oh, son of a... I walked
You
into
walked
that.
into that, Mario.
I did walk into that.
Mario, can I cash in an F-bomb?
You know what? Yes. This calls for it.
Joel, what the fuck?
Hey, Ina's in this match. And everything just goes quiet.
Where were you gonna go with that?
Yeah, that's why we were waiting. I was
Ina's
just like,
puns.
I was just like, did we overlook something poll related?
Yeah,
like,
it's like, hey, I'm making Ina proud here. Thank you very much.
that's fair. That's fair.
All right, so
Doing right by Ina. Oh,
are we
boy.
done? Do we have our card locked in then for Hollow No Mercy?
We do. I think
All right.
we do.
So let's run down it again real quick. Our opening match will be a a standard one-on-one of Ozura Subaru versus Flair, with Subaru winning via basically a knockout pinfall.
Yes.
It's basically
All
hits.
out.
It's basically one of those moves where Subaru hits it and you immediately hear Jerry Lawler on commentary go, "Good night."
Yep.
Um,
Or
And
you know the
fallout from this
first
match sets up the Subaru versus Noel match that will happen in Mania.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I will send the audio for Noel's Mania entrance in the group chat once this is done. I've already sent it to RJ. I mixed all of it, and I'm super hyped for it.
Yes.
But anyway, our second match being the first of two qualifier tag matches to determine the competitors for the tag team titles at Holomania. This first match being Mio and Fubuki versus Okayu and Korone. We have gamers versus gamers. Mio and Fubuki will win this match via pinfall, though it will actually, this would not be a squash match. This would actually be a very, very fun and drawn out match without overstaying its welcome.
Yeah, scrappy. Good.
Match number 3, the Good Housekeeping match from a remote location of Aqua versus Akihato / Hachima, with the match being more or less back and forth for the early going, at least until Aki transforms into Hachima, in which case game over.
But all right, by all rights, this really isn't a match. This is like a gag. This is slapstick.
Basically, yeah.
You
After
could
that,
put Yakety Sax over this.
yeah, honestly, probably. After that, match number 4 is our second tag team qualifier match of Muna and Pekora versus Watson and Suisse, with Muna and Pekora winning via pinfall, with additional fallouts of the team of Watson and Suisse breaking down, which will then lead to them having a match at Holomania. I need to
We've
make
booked
sure I
half
put
of
that
Mania
down.
tonight.
But good. That's honestly how this was supposed to work.
But
Like with
actually-
Hollow No Mercy, the outcomes of this, it helped us book the big grand finale,
Exactly.
or at least lay the blueprints for how we're going to get there. Our fifth match was then a 1v1 walk the plank match of Marine versus Matsuri, with Marine winning this match. I have Marine wins by pinfall. I don't know if we want to change that, given that we.
No,
I think we.
Oh, yeah,
changed
no, we're
Marine
dunking
wins
her.
by
By splashdown.
Yeah.
Marine wins by splashdown.
Splashdown already.
There we go.
So Marine wins that one, and that will send her on to, or that will put her on the path to Holomania,
Yep.
which we will figure out down the road. Let's see. The penultimate match of the night was the I Quit match between Calliope Mori and Takanashi Kiara, with Kiara winning the match by virtue of Callie being the words to say "I quit."
And honestly,
after
this is
just
yeah, emotional heartache and breakdown. This is going to be the one that years from now, when people are like, "Oh, do you remember Holo No Mercy 21?" And if somebody says, "I don't remember," the thing that people are going to say, it's the one where blank happened. It's going to be, it was the one with the I Quit match between Callie and Kiara, and people are going to go, "Oh yeah, I remember that one."
yeah, it
Literally, yes.
if
That's
nothing else.
yeah.
This is the match that people will remember
Yeah,
for years and years.
Yeah.
will be like, oh yeah, Coco won the Fatal 4-Way, that's what sent her to Holomania and it set up everything that will be remembered at Holomania. But
by
Hollow No
God.
Mercy, like, Coco getting to Mania is a footnote in history's eyes tonight. It is the I Quit match that is actually the secret headliner of the event.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense because you look at how this card came together. For the emotional climax, it is definitely the I Quit match. And again, looking back at history of these bridge to Mania shows, there have been those kinds of moments where people will forget the rest of the card, forget, when it, like all the other details, but they'll remember that moment as like that thing that happened before that year's WrestleMania.
And then we finally had our fatal 4-way of Coco versus Botan versus Ina versus Watame, with Coco ultimately coming out as the victor. And this is the thing we forgot to mention, too. We had the whole thing at the Rumble where Roboco wins the Rumble, climbs up on the ropes, points up at the Holomania sign.
Yep.
Coco does something similar when she wins this match, climbs up on the ropes. She doesn't point at the Holomania sign. She points up to the skybox directly at Roboco.
Oh.
And Roboco just... Mario, when I say the Erina Nakari sitting on throne smirk, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I don't think you actually watched much Food Wars.
No, but I can just tell from the context that,
that this is Regal AF.
Yeah.
Looking down and being like, come at me.
Yeah.
I would imagine, like, just to be, like, extra haughty, just like Roboco, just, like, blowing a kiss down to Coco.
Oh, man. No, but
See you at Mania.
No, I really like that visual because, again, like, that reaction that I gave as it was being described, amplify that by an entire arena, just going like,
yes.
Oh, like that is
just
that is like your pull up the copyright, send everybody home shot.
Yeah, throw up the like they're just locked into their stare down. Throw up the lower third. The crowd is going wild. Camera fades to black. Roll your credits.
Yep. And then complain on Twitter how you wasted 3 hours of your life. Oh, wait, this was actually a well-booked show with good emotional payoff and a good balance from start to finish. Never mind, you go onto Twitter and you start losing your mind along with everybody else over how amazing and epic that was and start spamming all the GIFs.
Let's see.
That's how this goes. and I feel like that that stare down would somehow be one of those like macros that people would be sharing around for at least a week after that.
Now the question is, does Coco announce her intent to retire today, or does that happen after Mania? Part of me feels like it happens today. Because that is part of what it is. That's part of the build-up to a graduation, the announcement of intent. That it isn't a surprise, a shocker, because we need to ride the wave of this isn't just another Mania event. It's not just the end of the season, that this is the end of an era. I think that Coco needs to announce tonight.
Two possibilities.
If not, okay, go ahead, Mario.
Possibility number one, and this is where I would have leaned towards, as part of like, the big hype package from the beginning of the show. She announces her retirement, win, lose, or draw. She would just obviously prefer to go out in the big main event. So that's what adds the stakes for Coco in this Fatal 4-Way. It's not just this is her last chance at the main event. It's like, this is literally... That's option number one if we want to add the stakes to this match. Or sometime in between... Hollow No Mercy and Holomania on one of the regular weekly shows, if not early in the build, definitely towards the end of the build. That's when she drops the graduation bomb, and suddenly, oh my God, this is now a must see.
I think
because
what happens is
one way or the other,
it's not announced before this, because otherwise that usurps Callie and Kiara's emotions a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I figured
what happens is. The way that this happens the opening of the Monday Night Raw immediately preceding this event, the opening is Callie and Kiara finishing the reconciliation and having the talk with J Chad. That is the cold open to the Monday night after the pay-per-view. The end of the Monday night after the pay-per-view is Coco announcing. And then everything is lit on fire for the remainder of the month leading up to Mania.
Oh, that's a good follow-up show. Oh my god.
Let's take this up a notch and let's do this properly, unlike WWE with these kinds of things. Let's have her announce it the night after HoloNo Mercy at the contract signing for the HoloMania match. So it's her and Roboco are in the ring together. They are going to sign the contract for that match.
Thank you for bringing up something that I completely forgot about as someone who's not into WWE. Contract signing is not even something that was even remotely on my radar. But now that you bring it up, I have heard of, contract signing. You have it even for like boxing matches, don't you? Or stuff like that. But,
yeah. With wrestling, it's kind of a trope, and that's why I would not have gone there first. So it's, in this case, if it goes very differently, then yes, because usually the trope is you have a contract signing, you know that someone's going to flip over a table and they're just going to beat each other up. So what was even the point of this?
Well, that's
very
WWE. WWE doesn't like WWE literally has a copy and paste of how they do contract signings, and it gets old. You can have a good contract signing if you do it right. WWE doesn't know how to do
that. Because the other thing that I was sort of having to think of is, what is the justification for Coco even being on set that night? I suppose that just the very nature that Coco says she has an announcement to make at the end of the night and that she shows up and people didn't expect her there, and we all thought that Coco was at home resting because she just had a match yesterday. And then she shows up and drops the bomb. But the idea of, okay, we're having the contract signing between Roboco and Coco is also an interesting one. I'm not sure which I like more, honestly. Part of me almost thinks that
we don't end it with the flipping or someone going through the table, because that's what WWE would do, and we are better than them.
That. Yeah, I guess the question is, part of me thinks that it should be the surprise appearance and announcement, because I'm thinking about Roboco here. Is it a slight to her to basically have Coco hogging the spotlight of a contract signing, which feels like it should be a joint event?
So here's why I'm definitely in the camp of surprise announcement. Watching it live, if you don't know it's coming, that's going to make it hit even harder. There have been many real and fake retirement announcements like this over the years, and the element of surprise is what really makes it resonate, because you're just like, oh, I wasn't expecting this.
Goodness knows
God.
That's what resonated about a month ago.
Yeah, so if we want
to... It was pulled out of nowhere, as is to happen in the idol industry.
Yeah, so if we want to parallel that to some extent, having it as a surprise drop in an already emotional night where you have, the coda to the whole Callie and Kiara situation.
Well, the thing is, I don't even see it as a super emotional night. That the emotional night is the pay-per-view. And like you said, the coda of, it's calm, if anything, at the cold open, because Callie and Kiara have reconciled. They're holding hands, and it's sort of them getting their little daggers in at J-Chad. Yeah. It's not particularly emotionally.
In terms of like the feel-good side of things. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're feeling really good. You're feeling, on an upper, and then boom, we've got this literal mic drop.
Everything is literally going to be on fire for the next month leading up to Mania. Mario, I'm not sure if you're aware. So after her announcement of her graduation, which happened on, it was like June 4th.
And
the announcement was that she's going to graduate on July 1st. She did, I think the count was 50 streams between the announcement and her graduation, that she was doing multiple a day. She had a full-on farewell tour. She collabed with so many people that she hadn't collabed with before. She was doing visits on different streams. She was on Kiara's talk show. She did everything that they gave her. This wasn't just a, she's going to retire and, see her out the door. They gave her the pomp and circumstance farewell tour. She's going to see and do everything and leave with no regrets. And she got that last month. So that was very nice to see. But it really was just, the sudden drop of the announcement that suddenly made, okay, this last month matters. Everything is big now. Everything is electric. You want to be there for each of Coco's streams because the days are numbered.
Yeah. And again, this has been deployed in wrestling storylines, in some cases, to swerve everybody. A great example being, the build up to the legendary Money in the Bank 2011 match between CM Punk and John Cena, where CM Punk legitimately had his contract about to expire. He just re-signed like the night of the show. But they left it open-ended because they weren't sure if they were going to, have him come back. But the build to that match suddenly went through the roof because it's like, oh, is he legitimately going to leave if he loses this match? Oh, God, what if he wins this match? Is he still going to leave but with the belt? Except in this case, we're not going to pull that wrestling swerve. We're going to keep it, by the letter, which is, okay, so this really is win, lose, or draw her last appearance.
Yeah.
So it's going to, like you said, make every single week of television from that point until the end must-see TV. It is going to be an event every week because every week counts down to that final appearance.
Yep.
So
also just
stuff.
I also just scrolled back up through the Discord. I can't see the exact timestamp, but it was the night of June 8th, 2021 is when I posted breaking Katie Yokoko graduating from Hololive and presented the link to that stream where she announced it.
The VTuber world shook on June 8th.
Yeah. So
if you were to see Twitter, it was a rough night, man. It was a rough night.
Yeah,
so you had people to give sense of scale that we haven't really talked about it. You and I, Mario, were on any of our shows, but the announcement of Kiryu Coco. So to give full context of who Coco is and what she means and why her announcement is so big, Coco was the most fluent English speaker of anyone in Hololive JP. She is largely credited with, if not being the one in Yago's ear to get Hololivian created, that she proved its viability because hitting the ground when she was doing English streams, she was the first one to really break down the language barrier for VTubers and really showed that there was interest and viability outside of the Japanese market. She was referred to as Hololive EN Generation Zero. She was at the forefront of a lot of different types of streams that she helped. She got half the talents there into Arc back in the day, and it became a thing that for a month everyone was playing Arc because Coco got them into it. She was only actually an active talent for a bit over 18 months. And when the announcement came out on the night of the 8th, you had people from Niji Sanji, you had people from VShojo, pretty much every VShojo talent was, tweeting out their respect for Coco because she was more than just your average Hololive talent. She was someone who helped expand the community and someone who was just, this total ray of totally crazy energy that was unlike anything else in the community. And like I said, on that night with the announcement, the VTuber world shook. And over the course of the following month, there would be so much outpouring of love for her. And, it's sad to see her go, but it was done on her terms, as is obvious from the proper farewell tour she was given. But, it was a big honking deal. So we want to replicate that here. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, all the more reason it should definitely be the solo announcement at the end of the show, because it should have that, like RJ is mentioning in the chat, like Edge when he retired seemingly for good at the time. Same with Daniel Bryan. That was another one that was just a gut check to watch live. Those were all, for all intents and purposes, solo announcements that, especially in the case of Edge, kind of came out of nowhere. I still remember watching that promo, and just because it was the night after WrestleMania, he was, going out there cutting the promo, and me, being so accustomed to WWE's shenanigans, I was like, I don't believe this for a second. Nope, that was real. I'm like, oh no, oh God, oh my feels. So yeah, it definitely should not be attached to anything that would even infer that, oh, we're gonna have a bit of a punch up after this big reveal. It's like, no, this needs to be just the emotional gut check to end the night on. Because even though we start off on a high, it's just like,
It is all hell breaks loose after the announcement in the arena, and lights go down, you go to the logo, and people take to Twitter, basically, of just utter insanity.
Yeah, like people watching the show from home are already just like lighting up Twitter. People at the show are probably just like looking at each other, just befuddled, or having the air sucked out of the entire arena. People are just like, whoa, they're just shell-shocked, getting back to their cars or public transit.
Exit on the arena that night.
Yeah. So, oof. That'll be a good setup to really amplify the magnitude of this main event at HoloMania.
Goodness knows nothing of importance really happens the Monday after the pay-per-view anyway, usually. Like, in terms of fights, nothing important happens, so we need to have something good for the people to watch.
Not unless it's the Monday after WrestleMania.
I was about to say, like, Monday, the Monday after
the
WrestleMania.
Only exception.
Yeah, that's become like the second WrestleMania. It's like, hey, thanks for coming to WrestleMania. Have some WrestleMania to go with your WrestleMania.
like the Monday night, like the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, even WWE now has acknowledged is the wildest night of the year. The crowd, like the in-arena crowd, are booing the people they're supposed to cheer. They're cheering the people they're supposed to boo. This is where you have your big returns. It's where
just like, and once again, as someone who doesn't know WWE, what makes that night so crazy? Is it the fact that just people are still shell-shocked in the aftermath and tensions are high of, if somebody won who people feel shouldn't have, that they're getting booed when they should be applauded because they just won, and vice versa?
I don't know how that all started. It's just specifically the Monday night after WrestleMania for a while now has routinely been the most volatile crowd of any WWE show, period. It's just kind of become a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how it started, but it just is, and WWE in recent years have actually started to play into it now.
I was about to say, and I'm glad RJ dropped it into the chat as well. So the running speculation, because again, the Monday night after WrestleMania, it always has had that special place, because if WrestleMania is the season finale, the season premiere is that next night on Raw. So like the calendar year effectively restarts at that Monday Night Raw right after WrestleMania. So you have your payoffs to whatever went down at the big show, but then you have the beginning of what's coming next.
The season premiere.
Exactly. But with this one particular WrestleMania, so it was after WrestleMania, I think it was 29, the one of the ones they had in New Jersey. The following night, it was a wild crowd, partly because the way that the show was booked, the crowd was just not having it. This is one of the few episodes of Monday Night Raw I have actually purchased with Earth dollars to own a digital copy of, because it is just the damnedest night. And it set a lot of these precedents in motion of anything can happen, because a wild cash-in happened to allow effectively one of the top mid-carders to get a world championship the night after WrestleMania.
Was that the night that Dolph Ziggler cashed in?
Sure was.
Oh, okay.
It was a wild night.
So what is cashing in?
So the Money in the Bank, which is another fairly modern invention for pro wrestling.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And if memory serves, whoever gets it then basically has carte blanche to challenge anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Yes, and it's usually
So
done
cashing in using the Money in the Bank.
precisely. So in this case, they cashed in the night after WrestleMania, right after the champion had just been involved in a match. So they just ran in, boom, done, cash in. So there was that. There was a match between, I believe it was it was Sheamus. I think it was Sheamus and Randy Orton, or Big Show and Randy Orton. Either way, it was some combination of them. The crowd was just not feeling this. The crowd was really just crapping all over this match.
It was Del Rio. He cashed in on Del Rio.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like the crowd reaction to one particular match, it just got so out of hand. They were even chanting for like the referees. They were chanting for everybody except the people in the match because they were just not having it. Yeah, and then it gets better because
the announcers.
Yeah, on top of all this, a wrestler had debuted the previous night who had a bit of an earworm of a theme song, Fandango. His theme song, by the way, actually charted in the United Kingdom. Like that's how popular this song got globally, just because it was such an earworm. Yeah, fandangoing. There was a little dance that went with it. The entire crowd for like the entirety of the last chunk of the final segment of the night, and literally there are videos of this all the way through to people going home on the New Jersey Transit trains were still fandangoing after the show was over. So
largely
that was
in credit to, I should mention, largely in credit to Chris Jericho for going out of his way,
yes,
and doing the damnedest of good jobs of putting him over.
Yeah. So legacy talent putting over essentially a debuting talent, and it went really well for like a month. But the point is, this particular night after Mania was the one that really set the standard for the concept of the night after Mania. Again, in years prior to that, there was always the reset button factor of, oh, okay, season's over, new season's beginning. And then that happened, and WWE slowly but surely figured it out, because when people saw how wild that New Jersey crowd were, other crowds in following years were picking up on it, but also WWE was wise enough to capitalize by having, big debuts or big returns, because that became a very standardized thing in the years that followed. And now they just lean into it. They're just like, well, que sera, sera. We'll just do whatever, and just lean into it, because we know the crowd's just going to be all over the place, because they want to be that crowd from New Jersey back in 2013.
Nice. Well, we ended the show like 30 minutes ago, but this was a fun little our own epilogue coda type thing here, educating me on WWE history and me sort of getting my 2 cents out there of just tribute to Kiryu Koko. And yeah, this was great. And we haven't set the date for Mania, but it's going to happen sometime next month.
Correct.
And we're going to go to town. This is so much fun. I'm glad that we continued this. Like, I want to continue this after Mania. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when. But it's that thing of just like...
I have some ideas.
Okay, because the thing is just, Mario, I don't know what your appetite for this is, but for me, like, as a once-a-month stream, wouldn't want it to be more. I agree that any more would wear it thin real fast. But I think that there is more than enough here for us to work with on a once-a-month basis that we've gone for. It'll be just about 3 hours. By all rights, this was a 2.5-hour show that the rest of this has been us vamping, but I enjoy this. I think it's different enough from everything else we do. And now that we're really getting these storylines built, it's like, okay, there's so many talents, there's so many storylines that we can build. We're sort of playing off the obvious ones right now, but there's so many more directions that we can go once we exhaust the surface level ones of who knows what we could write up with Iofi and Botan or Polka or something. That there's lots of opportunity here. There's lots of good characters, and obviously with the introduction of Iris, who knows what sort of wrench that'll throw into everything. That we had her occupying the halftime show this time, but she won't be halftime show forever, so she's going to get involved somehow, somewhere. And there's so many other things, and I want to keep it going, even if it's just the once a month, maybe even once every 2 months. But I don't want to just say, okay, we're done. We'll discuss more off stream. But this
Yeah.
is me publicly declaring my intention of we got to figure out a way to keep it going after Mania.
I'd be okay with that because I do, like I said, I do have some ideas that I cannot work into the current storylines we are building, but I would love the opportunity to implement them somewhere else. And I was actually going to ask, I never did get an answer to that question I sent you a while back, Joel, as to which 4-person faction would you put up against HoloLive gamers? And I'm thinking
on the spot. Here we go.
I gave you 2 options. Let me see if I can scroll up and find them. It was I know one of them was either 4th gen minus Coco, obviously because she's graduating.
Yeah.
But then
gen, because 5th gen is also 4.
Yeah, so 4th gen or 5th gen versus HoloLive gamers in a 4v4.
Ooh, that's tough.
I'm kind of like, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm kind of leaning towards 4th gen, but I wanted to get your take on that.
I kind of would want it to be 5th gen. I think that 5th gen has a couple more interesting characters that, when put into a blender, would probably have more to it.
Oh, this would be a blender, all right.
Plus, for storyline purposes, you have to assume that with the graduation. No, wait a minute. Coco's 4th. Yeah, that 4th gen is going to be very, pun not intended here, raw after the graduation of Coco. So I feel like because we're going to give 4th gen something in Mania.
Oh, I have a plan for 4th gen. Like for the very end, I have a plan for that.
Okay, yeah, but we definitely have that. So. I feel like it would then have to be 5th gen just because 4th gen's already getting a thing.
Okay. So, gamers versus 5th gen. 8 fighters. 2 teams of 4. I think, Mario, you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, I was about to say, it sounds like we've got ourselves a Survivor Series.
Actually, no.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking more along the lines of what, like, 8 fighters, 2 teams of 4. War games.
That was gonna be my next guess. I was gonna say war games. Are we doing war games? All right. Or blood and guts, if we want to go the AEW route.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Oh man. But yeah. So there you go. That is Holo No Mercy 2021. Big thanks to everybody who has swung on by live. We hope that all of you who are enjoying the YouTube edition of this in the future enjoy all the lovely visuals provided by RJ Para. I know we certainly enjoyed them live, as some of them were coming to us while the broadcast was going. So let's start wrapping this one up over here for the evening. Of course,
actually, just randomly, spontaneously thought of a sign off for us tonight, Mario. If you could indulge me for a second.
Absolutely, go for it.
If you smell what D Crew is booking.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us across social media for updates. Thanks for watching!